call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the roll?
Certainly. Supervisor Moore.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara.
Here.
Councilman Iacili.
Here.
Councilman Pell.
Present.
Councilman Scavone.
Present.
Thank you. All right, so we'll start the meeting today with the reading through the draft agenda. There'll be 8 public hearings. The first is on the 2025 preliminary budget. The second is to consider any increases proposed in the maximum amount to be expended annually in the town's special districts. The third is to consider amending the town code chapter 8 to override the tax levy limit established by the general municipal law section 3C. The fourth is a public hearing to consider a substitution of term in the residence district's table of use regulations. The fifth public hearing is to consider the acquisition of 528 Pleasure Drive in the hamlet of Flanders, New York, and to amend the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property. The sixth public hearing is to consider a local law amending Chapter 150 to enact a leash law for streets and sidewalks. The seventh public hearing will be to consider a local law enacting Section 312-6C7 in order to make a portion of Lighthouse Road a one-way road in a southerly direction between its intersections with Foster Avenue in Hampton Bays. Between its intersections. Okay. And the eighth public hearing will be for to consider the sale of 112 Old Riverhead Road, West Hampton Beach, New York. Okay.
Would you like to start the reading through the resolutions?
Let's-
All right, we have Town Board Resolution 2024-1178, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone. Now, congratulations, Assembly Member-elect.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Resolution of adoption amending Southampton Town Code 298, taxation, to amend Article 8 to authorize an exemption for the creation of new accessory dwelling units within the town.
I thought you were gonna withdraw that for now until we get more.
Yeah, so Councilman, so Kara has been doing a lot of work with the school districts. We've been receiving some feedback. I don't know. I think maybe we should withdraw until we get all of the feedback collected from the school districts, and then we'll reintroduce when we're ready.
Is that your recommendation as the lead sponsor? Yeah, we can do that.
I think so.
Do it on the floor.
I think we could do it here, right?
Yeah.
Do we do it here, or should we do it on the floor?
You have to do
No,
it.
this has been tabled, so you have to do it on
We'll
the
do it on the floor then. Makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, Town Board Resolution ID number 47876 to authorize purchases of cesspool cleaning using Suffolk County contract with Environmental Services, Inc. Town Board Resolution ID number 47942, co-sponsored by the entire board, to authorize purchases of industrial and commercial equipment and supplies from Choice Distribution, Inc., Fastenal Company, HD Supply Facilities Maintenance Limited, Home Depot USA, Inc., Lawson Products, Inc., and WW Granger, Inc., using Suffolk County contracts. Town Board Resolution ID number 47993 to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension for Tesla electric vehicles with Tesla, Inc. Town Board Resolution ID number 47899, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension for dry cleaning and laundry services to Hampton Bays.
Town Board Resolution ID 47991, authorize supervisor to sign contract extensions for embroidered and silkscreen clothing with NYSID, BSN Sports, Jonas Enterprises, Inc., Woods Men's and Boys Clothing, Inc., J&G Awards and Sports, Emergency Responder Products, and Fisher Signs and Shirts. Town Board Resolution ID 48018, authorize supervisor to sign 2024 contract with Suffolk County Office for the Aging to receive additional senior citizen nutrition program funding.
Town Board Resolution 48053, authorize supervisors to sign a contract to amend with L.K. McLean Associate Engineer and Survey DPC to provide professional engineer service for the traffic study at the intersection of Lumber Lane at Maple Lane and Lumber Lane at Narrow Lane in Bridgehampton.
Town Board Resolution ID 47994, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell, authorize supervisor to sign a contract extension for acceptance of Town of Southampton North Sea Landfill Leachate Wastewater with Clear Flow Technologies Incorporated. Town Board Resolution ID 47906, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, authorize supervisor to sign a contract extension for furnish and deliver meter pits with Ferguson Waterworks and T-Minus Supply LLC. Town Board Resolution ID 47904, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, authorize supervisor to sign a contract extension for maintenance, installation, repair of water mains with roadwork construction support.
Town Board Resolution ID 47998, authorize supervisor to sign contract and extend for traffic line striping and traffic marking with Scenario Pavement Marking, Inc.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47901, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension for invasive vegetative control and removal with Coastal Commercial Property Management, Inc. Town Board Resolution ID number 48043, co-sponsored by Council Members Pell and McNamara, to authorize the supervisor to sign contract extension for roll-off containers with Monmouth Solutions, Inc.
Town Board Resolution ID number 48048, authorizing the supervisor to sign a contract extension with Coastal Commercial Property Management, Inc. for irrigation maintenance and repair. Also, Town Board Resolution 47882, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, authorizing the supervisor to sign contract extension with Coastal Commercial Property Management, Inc. for landscaping services.
Town Board Resolution ID 47898, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell, authorize supervisor to sign contract extension with J&M Dej, Inc. for vehicle fuel management system maintenance and installation.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47879, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension with Gershow Recycling for removal of abandoned junk and decommissioned vehicles.
Town Board Resolution ID 48002, authorize supervisor to sign contract extension with J Mill Management, Inc. for the 2025 summer season for a concession at Ponquag Beach, Hampton Bays.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47880, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension with North Sea Hardware for lumber and paint east of the canal.
Town Board Resolution 48001, also co-sponsored with Councilman McNamara, authorize supervisor to sign contract to extend the Spectrum Manufacturer, Inc. for closing the top shelf container injection trailer with hydraulic roof opener. Town Board Resolution 48044, also co-sponsored with Councilman McNamara, authorize supervisor to sign contract to extend the Suffolk County brake service for walking floor trailers. Town Board Resolution 48003, also co-sponsored with Councilman McNamara, authorize supervisor to sign contract to extend and furnish and deliver assorted oil, lubricates, grease, and lubricant LLC from West Hampton Order Supply and Grade A Petroleum Corp. Town Board Resolution 4799, authorize supervisor to sign contract to extend for street sweeper parts and gutter and rear boom with Malvese Equipment, Inc., a company and trust, Inc. Town Board Resolution 48050, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, to authorize supervisor to sign contract with GEI Consultant Engineer, General Architect and Landscape Architect to develop a rare species survey location within Long Pond and Little Pond in Sag Harbor. Town Board Resolution 4867, authorize supervisor to sign a DPP with Torsville American Business Solution, Inc. for a copy machine from Eastern Suffolk BOSI contract.
Town Board Resolution 48065, co-sponsored Councilmember Uselli, to authorize the supervisor to sign a 2025 Community Development Block Grant Project Description Forms.
Town Board Resolution 48000, also co-sponsored with Councilman McMara, authorize supervisor to sign extension with Great Northern Fiber LLC for private multiple market for dispose and recycle service for mixed paper and corrugated cardboard.
Town Board Resolution ID 47895, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, authorize the supervisor to execute a contract extension with Eagle Control Corp. As the sole source provider for the supply of constant chlor briquettes to perform services and routine maintenance and SCADA upgrades to the constant chlorinator at the Hampton Bays Water District.
Town Board Resolution 48041, authorize supervisor to extend contract with L.K. McLean, Associate Engineer, Survey DPC, on-call engineer service to be provided to the Highway Department for various townwide projects.
Madam Clerk, if I may be added as a co-sponsor?
Certainly.
Town Board Resolution ID 47881, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell, authorize the supervisor to execute a contract extension with Waste Zero for the supply and distribution of garbage bags.
Town Board Resolution ID number 48020, to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with Cullen and Danowski LLP for the annual audit of the Community Preservation Funds. Town Board Resolution ID number 48019, to authorize the supervisor to execute a contract with Naraki Smith LLP for the preparation of an annual financial audit for the years 2024 and 2025.
Town Board Resolution ID number 48047, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, authorizing the supervisor to execute a donation agreement with Christopher Morrow for an Eagle Scout Service project.
Sunday, could I be added as a co-sponsor?
Myself too, please.
As a former Boy Scout.
Town Board Resolution ID number 48039, to authorize the supervisor to extend a professional services agreement with Len Marchese, MBA, CPA.
Great guy.
Town Board Resolution 48052, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, authorize supervisor to sign contract amend with L.K. McLean, Associate Engineer and Survey, DPC, for professional service to be provided to the Alwide Creek Habitat Enchantment Project.
Town Board Resolution 47903, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract extension for liquid caustic soda with Unibar USA Incorporated.
Town Board Resolution 48005, authorize supervisor to sign contract to extend and drainage construction of Delaware Coal and Stone, DBA South Fork Asset, for the east of the canal, and Rosemont contract for west of the canal.
Town Board Resolution ID 47884, authorizes supervisor to sign contract extensions with Integrity Tree Care, Inc. as primary vendor and Jackson Dodds and Company Incorporated as secondary vendor for maintenance on trails in Southampton.
Town Board Resolution 48022, co-sponsoring Councilman Pell, to authorize the supervisor to sign any and all agreements for award of Community Preservation Funds, CPF, 20% water quality improvement project funds, aquatic habitat restoration, and non-point source abatement control projects.
Sunday, I'd like to be added, please.
Could I be added as well, Sunday?
And, okay, Town Board Resolution 48023, co-sponsored Councilman Pell, to authorize the supervisor to sign any and all agreements to award, for the award of Community Preservation CPF 20% water quality improvement project funds, wastewater treatment, and pollution prevention projects.
Sunday, I'd like to be added.
May as well. Town
Mike.
Board Resolution ID number 47865 to award and authorize the supervisor to sign contracts for fencing and stakes. Town Board Resolution ID number 48045 for the comptroller to purchase necessary workers' compensation insurance. Town Board Resolution ID number 47943 to recall and amend Resolution number 2024-1005 to authorize the purchase of computers for police vehicles from Island Tech Services LLC using Omnia Partners contract and New York State OGS contract.
Town Board Resolution 48014, recall and amend Town Board Resolution 2024-1099, authorize the Justice Court to apply for grant funding to support Justice Court operations through the New York State Unified Court System 2024 to 2025, a Justice Court Assistant Program.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47878, the 2024 notice to bidders for replacement parts for Chevrolet General Motors.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47946, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara. Notice to bidders for public bathroom cleaning.
Town Board Resolution 47926, co-sponsored with Councilmember Yaselli, to authorize budget modification to the Community Development Block Grant Program for fiscal year 2021.
Town Board Resolution ID number 48049 to amend the 2024 adopted budget for nutrition programs.
Sunday, if I can be added as co-sponsor? Thank you.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47948 to amend the 2024 budget for various departments. Town Board Resolution ID number 47951 to amend the 2024-2028 capital budget for Hampton Bays Community Center interior improvements. Town Board Resolution ID number 47950 to amend the 2024-2028 capital budget for the Red Creek Turf West Field.
Town Board Resolution 4788, amend the 2025 primary budget for the highway garage.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47705 to amend the 2025 preliminary budget for investigation and enforcement fee schedule. Town Board Resolution ID number 47710, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, to amend the 2025 preliminary budget for land management fee schedule.
Town Board Resolution 47962, amend the 2025 primary budget for alley premier and relate benefits for the senior just court clerk.
Town Board Resolution 47966, amend 2025 preliminary budget for salary and related benefits for the Director of Housing and Community Services.
You missed one.
You missed one.
I'm sorry, Tommy John, I skipped over you.
But you were on a roll, so.
Sorry about that.
Town Board Resolution 48058. This is to amend the 2024 preliminary budget for salary and related benefits for Town Planning and Development Administrator.
Town Board Resolution 47965, amend 25 preliminary budget for salary and related benefits for the Youth Services Coordinator.
Behind here.
That's not
Page 70.
That's me. Town Board Resolution 47964, also co-sponsored with Councilman Isola, amend the 2025 budget for salary-related benefit for Deputy Superintendent of Highways. Town Board Resolution 47963, amend the primary budget for salary for related benefit for the Deputy Town Clerk.
And Town Board Resolution ID 48057, amend 2025 preliminary budget for salary and related benefits for legislative aid positions.
Position, not position.
It should be position.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47709 to amend the 2025 preliminary budget for various charts. Town Board Resolution ID number 47961 to amend the 2025 preliminary capital budget for the West Hampton Activity Community Center. Town Board Resolution ID number 47967 to amend the 2025 preliminary capital budget for estimated roll forward amounts. Town Board Resolution ID number 47954, which is a resolution of adoption amending Town Code Chapter 8 to override the tax levy limit established by the General Municipal Law, Section 3-C. Town Board Resolution ID number 47971 to authorize increases in the maximum amount to be expended annually in the Town of Southampton Special Districts.
Cindy, could I be added as a co-sponsor?
Town Board Resolution ID number 47968 to adopt the 2025-2029 capital program and the 2025 capital budget. Town Board Resolution ID number 47969 to adopt the 2025 final operating budget.
Town Board Resolution 48015, co-sponsor Councilmember Uselli, a resolution to adopt substitution of terms of Residence District Table of Use Regulations.
Town Board Resolution 47701, resolution of adoption of a local law amending Chapter 150 to enact a leash law for streets and sidewalks.
Page 98.
Town Board Resolution 47664, resolution to enact local law 312-6C7 in order to make a portion of Lighthouse Road a one-way road in the southern direction between the intersection with Forest Avenue.
Town Board Resolution ID 47929, waive Parks and Recreation Facility use fee for Franca trunk or treat event. Town Board Resolution ID 47837, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the Friends of the Hampton Bays Library Magical Sleigh Ride to be held on December 1st, 2024. Town Board Resolution ID 47932, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, authorization of cost reimbursement waiver for the East Quogue Fire Department Holiday on Main event on December 7th, 2024, from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. Town Board Resolution ID 47952, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, cost reimbursement waiver for St. Rosalie's Church Our Lady of Guadalupe Run on December 12th, 2024, from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. These are going to sound redundant, but there's parks fees and there are, police fees, and there's different events actually, but they sound similar. Town Board Resolution ID 47978, authorized waiver of Parks and Recreation fee for 2024 St. Rosalie's Our Lady of Guadalupe Run. Town Board Resolution ID 47892, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli, cost reimbursement waiver for the Hispanic Apostolate Our Lady of Guadalupe Run on December 12th, 2024, from 1 p.m. to 4:30. Town Board Resolution ID 47869, authorized waiver of Parks and Recreation facility use fee for the 2024 Run with the Torch in honor of Our Lady of Guadalupe. Town Board Resolution ID 47930, authorized waiver of Parks and Recreation facility use fee for Hampton Bays High School Interact Club, Run as One, 5K for Mary's Meals on November 23rd, 2024.
Town Board Resolution 47872, authorizing the town board to erect a gate on town property at 1094 Middle Line Highway, Sag Harbor, New York.
Could you just tell us what that is? I don't remember talking about that before.
Yes, this is me actually. I was accompanied with Councilman Pell. We went to the Long Pond Greenbelt. They previously, the board had authorized, along with some support of the trustees, to put up some fencing to restrict vehicular access to the Long Pond trails. That had, unfortunately, some of those split rail fences that had been installed, unfortunately, came out. It's a little bit of a mystery, like how they came out, but one of the issues here is to try to install something that can be added to restrict vehicular access during certain times of the year. So we want to make sure that people have access, especially the hunters, have access during hunting season, but in particular, during the off-season, the Long Pond Greenbelt can be more apt to regulate the vehicular traffic.
What kind of sense is it gonna have a?
It's
It's a metal gate.
yeah,
Gate,
it
metal
is
gate.
it is a gate. Yeah, it's like a
Opens and
horse. They
closes.
call it like a horse gate or something like that. And it will be opened and closed by the police department, Marine Patrol. They we did include the police department in these conversations. We included Marine Patrol. In particular, Officer Rich Franks was involved in these discussions, and there's pretty much broad support for this measure between both the Friends of the Long Pond, the Marine Patrol, and all stakeholders there. So.
Very good, thank you.
Yep.
Town Board
Mike,
Resolution.
before we
Oh,
go on that issue here, we had significant talks in the Long Pond Greenbelt about putting a gate on Town Line Road, just kind of while we're here talking about it, because we did a significant cleanup during the Great East End cleanup. This is one of the places where people go up to the hill and dump their crud. And I know Day Dayton and the Friends of Long Pond Greenbelt would love to have a gate there as well, just to kind of like bring it up to the
Sure.
board while we're talking about it.
Mhm.
It would include the Bridgehampton Fire District as well as the town of East Hampton.
And the
It's a good
village
thing
of
to
Sag
do.
Harbor too.
No, this is down significantly. It's in Sagaponic area.
Okay.
Will the fire department be able to get through, right? I believe it's a
Yeah,
fire road.
exactly.
Okay, good.
And they'll have keys.
So is that a request for a second fence in a
No,
different location?
no, I'm just
No?
He's just bringing it up.
Yeah, we
bringing it
can
up
look
now
into it.
before,
We can look into it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Town Board Resolution ID number 48008, which is the 2024 part-time salaries chart. Town Board Resolution ID number 47995, to accept the resignation of Brian Coriali, scale operator in the Municipal Works Department. Town Board Resolution ID number 47994, to accept the retirement of Tatiana Love from Assistant Senior Citizen Center Manager. Town Board Resolution ID number 47941, to appoint Christina Lombardi to Office Assistant in the Highway Department. Town Board Resolution ID number 48004, to appoint Michelle Morano Mendoza to the Justice Court Clerk, Spanish speaking in the Justice Court. Town Board Resolution ID number 47913, to appoint Sean Crenine to the Real Property Recorder 1 position from the Civil Service list. Town Board Resolution ID number 47931, to appoint a hearing officer.
Town Board Resolution 47871. This is the attendance at homicide investigation course in College Point, New York.
Town Board Resolution ID 47928, recall and amend Resolution 2024-1031, authorizing the sole assessor to attend the New York State Assessors Fall Conference.
Town Board Resolution ID number 48040, co-sponsored with Councilman Scavone, to notice a public hearing for the 2025 fire protection contracts.
Town Board Resolution 47873, notice of public hearing to amend Town Code 90 entitled Smoke Prohibited Designate for non-smoking areas to include addition non-smoke areas being within 30 feet of in any direction and within public transportation vestibules or shelters, including those designated for pickup and drop-off areas at faculties that are open to the public.
Bill, do you mind if I add myself to this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sandy, could you add me, please?
More the merrier.
Do you want to get rid of one of those words, of or in?
If you want to.
Within 30 feet of, in any direction.
Yeah, because it doesn't sound.
Which one would you like to
In.
keep?
In.
Get
Do you
rid
wanna
of
be on
in
this?
or keep in?
That's okay.
Within 30 feet of, in any direction, I think makes more sense.
Yeah, I'd
So
like
get rid
to
of
be
the
added also because I was at the meeting where they brought this to our attention.
Okay.
That public hearing will be on November 26th, at 6 PM.
Town Board Resolution 47974, notice of public hearing to consider the adoption of the annual CPF pilot payment plan 24-25 tax year, and that public hearing will be on November 26th as well.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47945, to schedule a notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of the property located at 133 West Montauk Highway, Hampton Bays, New York. and that's also on November 26th at 6 PM.
Town Board Resolution 47987, notice of public hearing to accept a deed of dedication for open space in connection to the planned residential cluster plan known as Tuckahoe Orchard at Tuckahoe.
Town Board Resolution ID number 47934, co-sponsored by the entire board, to authorize the sale of real property located at 112 Old Riverhead Road, West Hampton Beach, New York. And I have 5 add-ons. Town Board Resolution ID number 48059, a notice of public hearing to authorize the acquisition of 1195 and 1253 Noyak Path in the hamlet of Bridgehampton, New York, and to amend the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Town Board Resolution ID 48060, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone. Notice of public hearing to authorize the acquisition of fee title for the property located at 15 Lewis Road and the acquisition of enhanced development rights of the properties located at 17 and 19 Lewis Road, East Quogue, and to amend the CPF stewardship plan to include the properties. And that public hearing is on
All 3 of them are on November 26th.
Okay. Town Board Resolution ID 48064, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone. Notice of public hearing to consider the acquisition of a conservation easement and restrictive use easement for the properties located at 210 Clay Pit Road, Clay Pit Road landlocked, 1215 and 1355 Bridgehampton Sag Harbor Turnpike, and CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Sunday, I'd like to be taken off of as a co-sponsor with this one.
On the third one.
Yep.
Okay, Town Board Resolution ID number 48072, which is the warrant, number 21.
Number 5 is 48084. Notice of public hearing consider and tackle of the town code article XXX11 as related to advertising non-conformant sand mines and the meeting certain criteria within the town of Southampton.
So Councilman, since our work session, this was changed,
Yes.
and now they're all just gonna, all these sand mines are just gonna be amortized within 1 year?
They can come in
Unless they come in for a
Yes.
ZBA?
ZBA, yes.
So now all these sand mines in the town of Southampton will be amortized within 1 year of this law's passage unless they come to the ZBA, regardless of their DEC permits.
Basically, yes.
Okay.
Alright. Well, that concludes the draft agenda review. So now let's move forward with with some matters that Janice Shear is going to bring to our attention. One is the change of zone for Quail Ridge. Or is it a change of zone?
Actually, it's a request for a change in non-conforming use. Good morning.
Good morning.
We have Wayne Bruin and Chip Voorhees for the applicant. They're going to be joining me and making their, let them sort of explain what they're looking to do. And then we have draft report.
Good morning. Good morning, board members. For the record, Wayne Bruin, O'Shea, Marson, thank you for the opportunity. Janice, you want to give a little presentation?
Yes, please.
I did. The tradition, I'll take one and pass the rest down.
No, I'm fine to stand if that's okay.
Do I stand at the podium?
Yeah, let's stand at the podium.
And
Get used to
Michael,
that.
thank you.
So again, good morning, Wayne Bruin, O'Shea, Marcinson Bruin, on behalf of the applicant. The applicant is contract vendee to purchase certain land. The applicant is the Northwind Group. Principal James Tunis is here with us. The owner of the property is Sandstrom Enterprises, Inc., which has owned the property for well over 60 years or so. Our environmental planner is Nelson Pope and Voorhees. Chick Voorhees is here representing our environmental planning consultants. Our surveyor and engineer is Mike Marinas of Insight Engineering. He is here with us as well. And lastly, our traffic consultant, Amanda LaRosa of Stonefield Engineering, is here with us as well. As Janice indicated, this is, we appreciate the opportunity to appear in front of you for the requisite public work session for the application of a change from one non-conforming use to another non-conforming use. This is something that a few years back, rather than the zoning board reviewing such an application, it was transferred to the town board to consider. I think you've had an opportunity to review a couple of these type applications. I'm just going to give you a general outline of what's before you, then I'm going to ask Chick Voorhees to give you an overview of the existing conditions as well as our proposed site plan. We'll then ask Amanda to give you some highlights on the traffic conditions, and then we'll ask Mr. Tunis to give you some background on the Northwind Group and the proposed architecture that's involved. So I know the board may be familiar with this, but the property is located on the northerly side of County Road 39, approximately 1,600 feet west of Tuckahoe Road. It's in the hamlet of Tuckahoe or Shinnecock Hills. It consists of 2 tax parcels that are separated by a flagpole that serves a residential lot to the north. The lot area in total is 9.49 acres. The zoning, the front approximately 300 feet. You can see on the screen the red lines. The first 300 feet from County Road 39 is zoned highway business. And the rear portion is zoned R60. The westerly parcel, we'll call Lot 2, is about 15,000 square feet. It has a building which was approved by the zoning board in 1963 as a use variance to be used as a residence. It was used, from the information we have, as a residence for several years, and then various commercial uses, office type uses have occupied, and it remains basically designed and used and can be used as a residence. It is non-conforming for the highway business zone. The rear portion of the property in the R60 zone is improved with several buildings, 2 main buildings. Its COs are listed as a resort motel, which has 24 units in it. There are some that may have a couple bedrooms, but most of them are single bedrooms. This was improved prior to zoning, prior to the 1957 zoning, and has been maintained constantly as a resort motel. And for the board's recollection, the resort motel allowed the rental of these units as a dwelling on a weekly or longer basis, and our understanding that has been what's happening here. The units are being rented on a longer term basis than a daily transient or otherwise basis. And this is something the town has struggled with many of these resort motels in various school districts.
You mean these would be rented out to people
They are
on an
right
annual
now.
basis? I know people who lived, I had friends who lived
Yeah.
here, and
My
they
brother
lived there
lived
for
there
a
in the
couple of years.
90s.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Long term.
nonetheless, the CO is for a resort motel. As required by the application, our first stop was to the building department to have him certify the pre-existing non-conforming uses, and we provided that in our submission to the board on August 19th, a letter from the building inspector basically indicating they're all legally pre-existing non-conforming uses that have not been abandoned. On that basis, we are seeking to make an application to change to another use, eliminating the non-conforming dwelling on Lot 2 and replacing the resort motel with a 36-unit multifamily dwelling, 10 of which would meet your affordable housing criteria. Before we entertained that application, we did meet with the planning staff as well as the building inspector, and we looked at our various options, including going to the zoning board. The only relief the zoning board could grant is an expansion of the resort motel, the floor area by 50%. And we could, in theory, also increase the number of units to 36 under the regulations. We found that proposal not to be necessarily economically feasible, given a number of conditions. The other option that was pointed to us was going to the planning board for special exception and converting the property to condominiums, residential condominiums. However, the board may recall that you can't increase the number of units, the number of bedrooms, nor the floor area at all. And again, that's not found to be economically feasible given the existing conditions. The other option is to actually come to this board for a zone change rather than keep the existing highway business in R60 zoning, is to entertain an application to MF 44. Maybe something this board reviewed with some other proposals. However, we believe this process that we have here would be less dense and would not, the MF 44 would allow more density. It would also not result in the same number of affordable units. And so in this particular application, our application will result in less density in that a zone change, and will increase the amount of affordable units from 4 to 10. The other option was just to walk away from this proposal and leave the existing hotel situation as it is. That is essentially all I have to say. I would ask Chip now, and there are plans on the table. We did give you a little handout that he may refer to that shows you some of the existing conditions in our proposed site plans. They are part of the application. We did also submit a planning analysis, and we look forward to having the staff's input and this board's input on the application. So, Chip.
Great, thank you, Wayne. Good morning, everyone. I just want to indicate I'm Chick Voorhees of Nelson Pope and Voorhees, representing Northland here today. And we did prepare the planning and zoning analysis. It looks like this. It's dated July 25th of 29th of this past summer. And it includes a number of the items that Wayne made reference to. Appendix A has the COs and compliance and deeds and so forth, as well as other supporting information. I think you have a sense of the location of the property and the surrounding area based on the aerial photograph that Teresa has up on the screen, which is very helpful. Mike Marinas is here from Insight, and he prepared the site plan. I'm just going to briefly go through that. It includes an access road off of CR 39. That access will have a restricted southbound out of the property turn onto CR 39. So it's only right in and right out, as well as a westbound on 39 left into the property. And Amanda's here to discuss that in more detail. But that's a change from the existing condition, which is an unrestricted full access. The site plan shows 18 buildings, so there's 2 units in each building. They look very much like residential homes. There are 3 bedrooms in each unit. So you can see the layout of the road coming into the property, providing access to the units. Each individual building will have an IA system, innovative alternative on-site wastewater system, treatment system, and public water will be provided by the Suffolk County Water Authority. And the site plan overall will have a walking path, community garden, gazebos, and a central existing drainage pond to remain. So in the analysis, you'll see that we identified a number of benefits that I'll just summarize quickly today. It does change a non-conforming use from an antiquated motel to a newly developed site plan. You can see in the photographs that are in the handout today the existing condition. The motel buildings are larger than a single-family residence. They have larger parking areas, and I would characterize them more like a commercial use than residential. The proposed buildings will look residential. They'll be attractive in design, and you can see, again, some of the images in the handout as well as on the cover of the Planning and Zoning report that identifies what they'll look like. The access will provide an improvement over the current condition. We had had some tax projections done, which are included in the last appendix of the report that identify about $283,000 in total taxes, of which, as you know, most of it goes to the Tuckahoe Union Free School District. We looked into comprehensive plan and feel that it's in conformance. It provides quality housing opportunities in the town. The site plan is designed in conformance with MF 44, which is actually one of the 3 criteria that we went through in the report. And of course, this will provide 10 or 28% of the site workforce or affordable units, which is again another benefit.
That shows a one treatment system.
Okay, so
I'm not sure that there's
correct?
an
Yeah, so it's one IA system to serve
One
the
system.
entire property, so that'll provide sanitary waste treatment. Also, it's a redevelopment of an existing developed site, so we're talking about, not a green site here. We looked at land use compatibility. If you look at the surrounding area, which you're familiar with, I believe that this is very much in character and fits in terms of land use compatibility. And we also go through each of the criteria under 330-185.1A, 1, 2, and 3, which I don't need to go through in detail, but I've summarized and are covered in the report. So in summary, we believe that the proposed project is more in conformance with community needs and character of the community, environmental standards, and zoning parameters by conforming to the MF 44, which again is specifically referenced in 330-185.1. And the biggest benefit in my mind is 10 affordable units, or 28%, east of Shinnecock Canal, as well as the change in the non-conforming use to update the site to an up-to-date, attractive, well-planned development that is strictly for residential use.
Is this for sale or rental?
These are for sale.
Is
And-
this, I'm sorry, go ahead. Is this special trades contractor on the property?
Special trades contractor.
It looks like there's a barn, like a,
There's a maintenance building. It's a garage
Oh,
that's
okay.
used for maintenance of the site.
What's the septic now?
Whatever conventional system was installed at the time. Probably don't even conform to current health standards for a conventional system. Certainly not an IA treatment system.
Could you explain the access to the property again? I heard what you said, and then I read here that the plan expressly prohibits egress left turns
Correct.
at the southbound side. Can you visually explain what's going on
And
here?
do you have the control of that flag strip?
It's
in
a
the middle of
perfect
this?
segue to Amanda,
Great.
who's here and is working on that very part of the project. So I'll turn it over to Amanda.
I'm Amanda LaRose. I'm a professional engineer from Stonefield Engineering and the traffic consultant on this project. As part of this project, we did evaluate if there were any options for alternative access for this project, but based on the configuration, the only frontage is along the county road. So in the proposed condition, we're looking to eliminate left turns out of the driveway as a safety measure. So there is a two-way left turn bay along the frontage, so residents would be able to use that left turn bay to make a turn into the property. And then on the way out, we propose a driveway that's going to be median divided with a median that will direct traffic to the right. I can show you this plan here. So this is a median, a physical median that will guide traffic to the right. So the only option on the way out will be right. On the way in, you can use the two-way left turn lane to make a left in, or of course a right turn in.
Okay.
And this is a county roadway. We did meet with the county back in the spring. We performed a collision analysis. We did not identify any notable collision patterns with the current residential development that's there. However, the county is in agreement with our assessment that eliminating left turns out of the property would be a safety enhancement.
But you can, if you're headed east, make a left into the property, is that what you said?
Yes, there's a left turn bay that's along the frontage there that you'd be able to use to queue up and wait for an opportunity.
It's already there, you can see it in the.
Yes, it's an existing left turn bay.
The house in the back,
Yeah, if that was a question the board had and amended. So there is an existing flag strip, and you'll notice on the aerial photograph that there isn't a separate driveway. They've been sharing and using the existing driveway here, and that will continue. And so that will continue, and that driveway will be part of our element. Those continue to have access through our project to that house.
that's what I just want to make clear. Sure. And how many,
It looks like a gore strip between those two areas. What is that? It's just going to stay not part of encompassing the project, like
Well, that's the
area-
flag strip that we're talking about to the property to the rear.
Oh, okay, so that goes to the rear property. and
Yes.
You're not proposing to use it.
That's not part of your project, right?
No, it's not part of our project. They're not part of the application, but we do have arrangements, and we'll formalize an easement so that they'll continue to use the driveway which they're using now.
Okay.
They're using the same driveway coming in, so there will be a separate driveway for that residence in the future.
How wide is that?
As well as the property to the west, which actually crosses over the flag, which is our parcel.
Mhm.
And that will be removed, so that will never have a separate access as well.
are you gonna
Yeah, the
tear the
flag
house?
is 15 feet
Is
wide.
that house gonna be torn down or still used?
It's gonna be torn down and removed.
So it'll be all vacant property there,
No, that'll remain as open space.
open space, vacant.
Is there any?
Did you say 50 or 15?
1.5.
15
1
feet.
5.
1.5. The flag strip is 15 feet wide.
Did you look at getting over to Tuckahoe? To Tuckahoe
So
Lane?
if you look on, if you broaden that, you'll see immediately to our west and north is the Southampton Golf Club. There isn't any opportunities to get access across the golf club. Immediately to our east is a residence and a couple other residences. And there is, although our client hasn't reached out to those individuals, we're not thinking that they will want us to cross their property. You know, physically, that would be the only way. As far as to the south is all commercial development, and we have no legal rights of access there, but that would only, again, would still come out onto County Road 39.
How many fire hydrants are you gonna have up there?
Currently,
There's none up there right now.
Probably three, yeah.
Three.
Okay. One at the end of the cul-de-sac and then one probably on the south.
We can't hear, the public can't hear your answers. You might want to repeat it, Wayne. I think that's, yeah.
Hi, Mike Marine. I would anticipate three hydrants, one on the end of each of the two cul-de-sacs that we're proposing, and then one on the south end of the site.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To the public, it sounds like murmuring.
I understand.
Just about going, when you leave the place and you make a right, is it a sharp right or is it gonna be, you're gonna have a speed up?
It'll be a pretty gentle right, so we have a radius basically to turn into the lane, and then you'll enter right into the
So you have,
lane of traffic.
they have time for people to be able to see.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the driveway throat is substantial. There would not be no issue with waiting to make the turn if you couldn't find a gap right
Can I
away.
see that for a second?
I think it's a beautiful plan, and, you know, but obviously the 10 affordable units is a great feature. If this was on any other road in the town of Southampton, I would be, where do we sign? 39 is an issue though, and I you know, I would defer to you about this, Michael. I believe that at the traffic task force, there was actually a request or talk of a building moratorium on 39.
There was a discussion, but I believe, Janice, that discussion examined specific types of parcels, correct?
Yes, this parcel was not one of them that was identified. It would be a limited moratorium on you, while you consider if you wanna change or implement any of those recommendations on those given parcels.
Right.
That's it.
And
And you
that's-
can, and it could be fairly quick, because you could be like, no, we don't wanna do that.
Right.
Even though, you know, whatever the plan is recommending, you can look at it now 2025 eyes and say, yes, this still makes sense, or no, we don't wanna do that, or, you know, weigh it out, but just for those specific parcels that had recommended changes on.
And what were some, can you go through it was like, what were some of those parcels that we discussed?
Can I
I
ask a
didn't bring
question
them
about
with me,
this
but
project before we get
Yeah,
into the
yeah.
30? Just a couple of numbers, and this is
Yeah,
quick,
yeah.
Councilman. Currently, there are 24 units on the property, and each unit is one bedroom, right?
3 bedrooms.
No.
Right.
The
you said-
proposed is
what?
three. The proposed are 3.
Currently,
So there are a few units I understand that may have 2 bedrooms, but I believe the majority of them are 1 bedroom.
okay.
3 bedroom.
Right.
Oh, correct.
No, the current existing, right, as far as bedrooms, anywhere between 24 and 36 units, roughly, right now. So you're proposing 36 units, 36 buildings, 2 units each.
18 buildings.
Eight. Oh, okay, okay. Good. Yeah, I do
36
have that right written down.
36 units.
Right,
yes.
36 units, okay. So that's 72 bedrooms, right, two each. And then 5 of the buildings will be designated as community or affordable housing with 10 affordable units at 20 bedrooms of affordable. Do I have those numbers correct?
30 bedrooms. The affordable will be 3 bedroom as well.
3 bedrooms.
Oh, they're 3 bedrooms, not 2 bedrooms.
3
Correct.
bedrooms.
3 bedrooms.
But a total of 36 units. Is that what you're looking
Total 36 units. Each of them will have three bedrooms, and including the 10 affordable.
So the way the code works with the non-conforming use to another, criteria 3 says the use, scale, and density have to be found to be consistent with what could be achieved through a related change of zone application. So if they did try to come for MF 44, they could not exceed 37 units. But I just wanna note that I don't know that that's the final yield is 36, because there's some wetlands and there's some flagging that needs to be done. So there's some wiggle room there has to be, because I don't know that they can meet the setback.
And I just
Okay,
wanted, you
so
are
at 36 units, if I could get these, just finish this point, again, quick. At 36 units, at 3 bedrooms each, right, that's 102 units. 102 bedrooms.
Bedrooms.
No, thank you.
And
Okay.
just worth of note, you're not currently the property owner, you're looking to,
We're a contract
Mhm.
vendor.
because I just wanna be completely honest, I just don't, you know, it's gonna be a lot. I know the county is still looking at 39 through their study for safety, and I mean, we're even talking about, I've been just having conversations with them about making this a limited access roadway and getting rid of that turn lane, so I would be very, very, very hesitant to put this kind of density on this site right now, and I understand that there's currently, you know, a number of units there, but to increase it to, as the councilman was saying, 102 bedrooms on this site,
108, I think.
I don't know that I
Yeah.
would. And I'm just trying to be completely honest with you before you go down this road of this process and find out that, you know, it's too much.
108.
Because I know you have to make money and it has to make certain numbers. And I'm just trying to be completely transparent and open so that on, like I said, any other road in the town of Southampton, I'd be all over this, but on 39, I don't know.
Question about the units here. So are these the affordable ones and
The
the market
affordable
rate?
ones are not distinguishable from
Oh,
any other.
okay.
That's the rule here. Like,
Oh.
you can't be like, oh, those are the affordables. You know, they have to be like mixed in, so
Yeah,
nobody knows
Yeah, the
what it is.
insides might be a little different.
Yeah, so they have
Finishes.
different finishes or different things like that, but from the exterior, there should be no way of knowing that.
You did tentatively identify which one's on the plan.
Yeah, good. We do want them on the plan because then the planning board can make sure that they're
The end there.
evenly dispersed.
And the 20 affordable housing theoretically would go through our housing program for lottery and
It can, but this might be a good opportunity to introduce Mr. Tunis, who can come up and just give a little background on North Wind and other projects he's done and what he has ideas for who would manage the affordable units.
Sure, thank you very much for allowing me to speak today. My name is Jimmy Tunis. I am the managing member of the Northwind Group. We've been building multifamily housing in predominantly Suffolk County for about 30 years. And we take special pride in the location and what we're doing with the property, special designs, and we try and think outside of the box. Recently, we've taken abandoned boatyard in Port Jefferson and turned it into a 52 unit luxury apartment community. We also took a recent industrial site in Bayport on Sunrise Highway, and we're building 30 100% affordable condominiums for 55 and over. You know, this site is very similar to sites that I've built on before. You know, it's a use that certainly is outdated. It is non-conforming, and we're just looking to work with the town to figure out a way to make this housing site much more in line with today's standards. You know, we like the site. We've added a lot of affordable homes to the site. We think that's an important feature. I believe it's 28%, and we're here to answer any questions that you may have with regards to the site.
On the affordable units, they're gonna have to pay the same monthly fee, maintenance cost as.
They would actually, we would work out a system where they would pay less
Okay.
than the market rate units. We work with the Long Island Housing Partnership. Right now, they are marketing, and we allow them, and we would work with the town. I understand that there's a town division. We've actually had conversations with them, I think.
we have a buyer benefit program that home ownership goes into this program and it stays in the program in perpetuity.
Great.
Is that okay?
That's very important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, way our client has looked at it, and obviously, we look at this as an opportunity to do something with the nonconformity and do something on County Road 39 at some point, and I would ask the town board to think about this, is that at some point, somebody will come before this board to redevelop this property. We think our client is probably has the wherewithal as well as the best project in mind, of course, subject to your consent. We understand County Road 39 issues. At some point, the only issue here for us is how we're gonna access and how does that influence. If they end up putting a median, it's gonna end up right turns in, right turns out. There won't be a left turn. At some point, you're gonna have to deal with that up and down the highway. How do people going eastbound or westbound get to go left turns? So there are gonna be turnaround areas somewhere along the way. Being that this is not a commercial grocery store or something like that, I think the residents in the future would be able to, deal with that. Frankly, that they'll have to do with that. And in the interim, because we all hope that something will be done with County Road 39 sooner than later, but in the meantime, we can make a situation much better. Substandard housing, perhaps they're providing impacts that arguably from the town standpoint, this should be a transient resort motel, not putting school-age children or anybody else into the school district. Here, that's not gonna happen with the residences. You do have affordable housing. You got a different tax base that Tuckahoe's been screaming for. There's opportunities here. And I think that's what we got to look at this carefully. But we do appreciate and understand the whole traffic issue, and we can try to do the best we can with that access. But beyond that, it's like, you know, if this doesn't happen with us, what will happen in the future? And I think the town board should look at that, because the hotel is non-conforming.
Have you had any, I don't know if this is Jimmy to Wayne, had you any discussions with anybody from DPW, Charlie or?
Yes,
Bill or-
Amanda has met,
Yes.
and they've met with them.
There's actually, within the packets from the environmental report, there's a letter from the county dated May 28th, indicating that they're in agreement with the upgrades that we're proposing, which would, prohibit those left turns out of the site. They see it as a safety upgrade.
The highway department did that,
The Department of Public Works.
So you would make a right, and then if you have to go back east, you turn around at that, in the road area, like where that turnaround is.
Precisely.
What about the current residents?
Okay,
Do
there's-
they just stay till the end of their leases?
Those residents are on a month-to-month lease. We've gone through this before. We definitely will try and help them find alternative housing. Maybe some of them will end up buying one of the affordable homes in here. We would work with them though. Obviously, this process would take a while. We would do our best.
Be a lottery, Jim? You work with Long Island Housing Partnership for the 10 units
Yeah.
lottery system?
Yeah, that's what they would do, and they would advertise, and everyone goes in a pool, and then they pick a lottery. It's actually quite exciting when it happens, because people, you know, get this opportunity, which, especially out here east of the canal, would be great, I believe. And you know, just to go forward on this traffic situation, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but right now people can come out there and they can go left or right. So with the improved parcel, they can only go right, and I think that's where the trouble is, coming out and going left. I've visited the site numerous times, and that's where I see the biggest problem, is coming out of that community and going left, which you have, you know, at least 24 people a day coming out of there and making a left. So it is a dangerous situation, and I believe our new community would help make 39 more safe than it currently is. So I agree that what Wayne said, that it would be a positive step on the 39 traffic situation.
Janice, I have a quick question. Can you just put into focus what the potential, we kind of got into it a little bit, what is the potential possibilities of how that parcel could be developed outside of this particular part? What could the public see in the future potentially?
Well, the process is set up, because it doesn't always happen that someone goes from something like this, which has its place and could stay forever. They have the right to keep that. It doesn't have to go anywhere. To moving to, you know, the underlying zoning is R60, you know, that would be the as of right, but this is the as of right, technically, right now. So, you have a process that allows you to go from one non-conforming to another, moving the use gradually toward the conformity. So you're moving from a resort motel, as they've testified to you, to a residential use, strictly, you know, single family home ownership, which is the intent of the R60 zone. That is what it is. So they're moving toward that use, albeit that there's more density associated. There's plus 12.
So they're actually,
right?
this potential project actually satisfies the zoning.
It does, in the sense that it is the right use for the district. So it is a single family residential use. It's that it's the amount of them are more, right? But you have a right, they have 24. They're proposing to add as much as 12. We're saying, well, let's see how the wetland setbacks work out. You may only end up, you know,
That might cut it back.
but you'd have to get in the process. We're not gonna do all that without knowing whether or not you want to engage in this process.
Right.
Yeah. Does that help answer your question?
Yep.
So, and to help the other people out who are watching, so if there is setbacks more than what is right now, the units, instead of 18 units, might be 17 units or 16 units.
Well, right, they're asking for plus 12 on top of so they have 24.
Yeah.
And they're asking for 36. Is it gonna work out to be, I don't wanna throw out numbers because I'd rather them be tied to an analysis.
Yeah.
But I would expect that some units maybe have to not be there if there's a wetland setback.
Okay.
But we'd have to have it flagged and know where that
Yeah.
setback is and then look at the design to know how many less. You could say, well, we're not entertaining any more than X. Or you can say, we're entertaining it, but, knowing that what I'm telling you is that I don't know that they'll be able to realize the full 36.
We're better off waiting for the setbacks.
Well, no, you can say, we'll elect to consider it, and then they will put in for the applications, and then we'll flag it, and they'll, come in with the formal application. So that's how it works, and that comes through the process. If you wanted to say, well, we're not entertaining anything more than, whatever number, then you can say that too. That's happened before, but what are you basing that on? It's just all slightly arbitrary. So, we like to base it on more than that. So, hopefully that's not more confusing. And that's our biggest concern, it's just like making sure the wetland setbacks are accounted for.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, I don't have any other questions. Anyone else at this point?
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much.
for coming
Thank
in.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice day.
You too.
You too.
I got one.
Bill, this is yours.
Oh, that's theirs.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Wayne.
Janice.
Janice.
Janice, this is theirs, I think.
Keep that. You want that?
Oh, sorry. Thanks, sir.
Great.
Yeah.
And it doesn't
Thank you.
come out of that skeleton hill. And the road curves around.
Not only, thanks.
Thank you.
So, yeah.
All right,
we're seeing
yeah.
a lot because there's a lot of people who are coming in with a lot of different ideas.
Well, our next topic is the North Sea Community Housing, and Curtis Highsmith, our Executive Director for Southampton Housing Authority, is here with us today. Hi, come on up.
Morning, Curtis.
One, Curtis.
All of you have an opportunity today at least to enjoy the outside because it's beautiful. I don't know what's going on, but
I don't think it's likely that we're going to get out today.
no.
Unfortunately.
Do you need a hand
I've heard about the wobbling legs here. Yes. Was asked to hand in the copy of the yield map and a copy of the site plan. I just quickly put together just a small little packet so we can go over kind of the concept, the plan, and envision. And I have to apologize, my engineer, architect, and we are now citing a new council.
Thank you.
They weren't available, but I thought that this is so important, I didn't want to delay it any further than it already has been. And so we can start at least initiating the initial conversation and see if there's any question. Oh, yes.
Okay, well, the floor is yours. Maybe,
Okay.
we'll go with the presentation and then we'll talk about, any questions. Thank you.
Again, Curtis Highsmith, Executive Director, Town of Southampton Housing Authority. I'm here to talk about 90 North Sea Mecox in R20 zone. It's 3.19 acres vacant lot that's currently in the Suffolk County Ground Management Zone V as in Victor. Just a little history about where we're kind of the origin of this project has come from, or the genesis to where we are present. We initially purchased this parcel to do a 6-lot subdivision. We were going to subdivide the lot and then do 6 single-family homes with accessory apartments above garage. That was the initial plan. I had our engineer go to the health department, make a determination of what was required and needed. Application on October 2023 by our engineer, North Star Engineering, submitted an application for that 6-lot subdivision, planning, and then obviously went out to see what the actual as a right on-site ground consumption would be, and then what they proposed based on the 6-lot subdivision. As I was undergoing that review, I started having meetings with the local CAC, as well as organizing a meeting with the local community at Sandy Hollow. And the consensus was that they did not want me to do a subdivision. They did not want 6 individual lots. They would prefer the homes to be more modest in the community format and to kind of blend in with the cottage style homes that are currently in that area. So going back to the drawing board, taking a look to see what we could produce in terms of number of units, what our square footage size would be, and what kind of formation on this particular lot we'll be able to create. Now, the shape of the lot is rectangular, so this was best suited that we do a cul-de-sac where we have one form of egress into the parcel and kind of form the homes on the outer portions of the cul-de-sac so that it would have a community feel. I wanted the homes to be modest, so we wanted to keep them under, well under 1,500 square foot. So each home right now is being proposed before you is 1,200 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, a 1-car garage. I'm a person who's really firm on storage. I'm on my 3rd house, and we collect stuff. we have a lot of items. We collect a lot of material. What happens to our Christmas stuff after we finish our Hanukkah? What happens with our summer wear when we need to put them someplace? So I have storage space in the garage. It's unfinished space above the garage. It's only access through the garage. We'll pull out, have a ladder, and put storage in boxes in the attic space. We also have a full unfinished basement that would only allow for mechanicals and conditioned space for the mechanicals.
Is that a partial basement?
It will be a full basement, but it would be an unfinished full basement. The only portion of the basement that would be finished would be the mechanicals. So
exit has the outside exit to the basement.
Normally we either do a Velcro door or interior. These are too small to have that type of access, so it would be an external Velcro door to go down to the basement.
None from inside the house.
Nothing from the inside of the house.
And over the garage, how big a room is it? Could down the way could people put up?
Because of the pitch of the roof, ceiling heights are extremely low.
Okay.
And so they would not be able to create habitable space in the attic, or not at least above the garage.
Okay.
So to talk about how the calculations, based on the as-of-right calculations on the parcel is able to get 9,000 gallons per day. That would actually account to 3 single-family homes. Normally, the health department looks at what would be double density, just to get a kind of an idea of what maximum capacity of the lot would allow. Obviously, you add that up, you get double density. It's 1,800 gallons per day, in approximately 6 single-family homes with accessory apartment above garage, because the accessory apartment is not included in the flow.
What's the health department? Is it half acre or acre for a health department? 300 or 600?
It's gallons per day.
Yeah,
Gallons.
But is it on this hydro zone? Is it 3 or 6? Do we know?
I don't know the answer to that.
What's the zone?
Yeah, it's 5.
It's
5.
5. No, V.
It's
300 gallons.
Okay.
Half acre.
So based on the double density, you want to know how did I get to 9 units? Well, typically whenever affordable housing project or development comes forward, we get bonus density. So I made a decision that, and this is not a perfect science, is coming to a kind of a consensus on how we develop a certain number of units without overdeveloping, and not introducing to the community something that we feel that would be that would not be in keeping and not be reasonably accepted. So that's where the 9 units, total units came. So now how to place that on the site. We looked at taking the majority of or at least 5 of those units and setting them at the western portion of the site. That's where I believe that the parcel that's adjacent, that's nearby, because of the conditions of that, it would be less impact to what we consider to be residential habitants or individuals that have homes that are currently living. That particular parcel is, I won't say blighted, but there's a lot of activity happening there. And then we took 4 of those units and we placed them on the eastern portion of the site. We also look at green space. So since this is a neighborhood and community, if you look at, and I'm going to, so as I stated, we wanted to put the majority of the 5 homes towards the parcel that's closest to, I believe, a parcel that I believe that they have cargo ships and containers, and there are a few things in the back there, but it wouldn't be a huge disturbance to a residential community overall or neighbors. But on the eastern side, where there are 3 flag lots, we put 4 units. That would not, so there wouldn't be such a large impact to a residential community, but it also wouldn't be over dense for that particular area for these 3 parcels. I'm always firm on green space, so at the rear of the property, we kept that unfinished green space at some point in time in the future, probably looking at CDBG funding to get some type of recreational area, whether it be a playground or whatever we were able to get at that particular time. But also it leaves less impact to the neighbors at the rear of the property. We won't be impacted by new home growth in the rear of the parcel. More importantly, for the families living here, it gives the children to play further away from North Sea Mecox and have more of their activity happening towards the center of the lot. So that's kind of the mindset behind the configuration and why we have the lots created in that manner. On top of that, what we are doing is, this is going to be a lottery. We will be able to issue these obviously out as a first-time home buyer program. I'm really looking for this to be 100% real, true affordable. That's 80% area median income and below. I would love to be able to hit the mark at 60% or below. East of the canal, it's impossible to happen. But we are able to get the type of funding I believe that we're going to get on this project several times over the last a few weeks. I've had Suffolk County out here looking at our various projects, including Watermill. I had them also looking at this site. I had New York State out here. They're really excited about the type of opportunity, real true low income or affordable opportunity or project east end of Long Island. So there's a lot of money that's probably going to be allocated to make sure that we can keep this as affordable as possible.
And what kind of grants from New York State are you looking at? Do you know?
It's the AHC, County will be home funds, and then there because we are doing each one of our units that we've ever built, and I'm sure those that have been to the Riverside sites know that our homes, we build them 80 American for Disability compliant. We always create kind of like a front deck that accesses as a ramp. We build it at grade. We also have interior that anyone that has mobility limitations are able to access our homes independently. There's funding out there for there too. So we may be able to get additional funding for infrastructure to assist with the ADA compliant units.
Thank you. And how does Southampton, we're currently looking at being a pro-housing community, and how would that fit into the possibility of getting these grants?
That pro-housing, it doesn't help. For the pro-housing requirement, it's more downtown revitalization or large grants that would enable us to receive large groups of funding, it will affect the home fund funding. It will affect some of the, for example, Riverside. That's where it would be worse. In worst case, that's what it would affect us the most. In Riverside, where we are looking for revitalization money and funding, and we spent a ton of money, obviously getting the infrastructure and septic, we would not be awarded that downtown revitalization money.
For
That's not being
Riverside, but
used.
for this,
For this, home
your
funds would
answer,
be, it wouldn't,
doesn't
I don't
matter.
believe it will hinder it,
Okay.
but it would be challenging. And because what ends up happening is that we're limited. Southampton is unique. We're not a community that will ever have 20, 30, 40, 50 units at a spot. Those are our caps. So to even look at possibly getting a 30-unit complex anywhere, it's difficult. Normally, typically, the funding becomes very competitive in other regions like Brookhaven, Westchester County, Islip. And so when we go for state funding, it's a point system for each one of these funding mechanisms. They look at your experience, how many number of units, what's your how many units have you already established? Are you green initiative? Design details? They look at all these different measures to accommodate what the point system is. Pro housing is one of those point systems. So it's not that I won't say it will eliminate us from being awarded, but it makes it challenging because that's one of the point systems that were enabling us to maybe have New York State look outside of the fact it's only 9 units, whereas another community has a 15, 30 unit complex or subdivision.
Right.
Chris, if you're doing this multifamily structure with no subdivision, what's the ownership?
Southampton Housing Authority will own the land. So we will maintain the land. The ownership would be either under a cooperative agreement or what's called a public unit development, or PUD. It enables us to have full ownership, create a homeowners association. There will be obviously a homeowners association fee associated with that. They'll go towards maintenance, maintaining the grounds, snow removal, garbage, but also under this homeowners association agreement, it gives us a little bit more of oversight. We're able to define in the contract conduct on site, occupancy, make sure it's a full-time occupancy, ensuring that you can't lease out the units, you can't make improvements to the unit unless you get prior approval from the housing authority. There are other parameters such as making sure that you can't lease improvements. We want to make sure the homes are always affordable in perpetuity, so it also controls the resale of these units, just like we did on the buyer benefit. It enables us to now put the parameters by how a person can sell the unit, but also get equity. So we'll do the same thing where we have an increase on equity based on consumer price index.
And you'd be asking for CHF?
Absolutely.
You brought up the lease. One thing that did come up in the community when you said something about the ADUs is the community loves the idea, and I'm happy that they support it, and it's because they're really happy that it's ownership. But one thing they did ask about is maybe putting a covenant in place where there is no rental permits issued on these homes. Because they don't want, being that it's already 9 families, they don't want then rental permits and either somebody moving out and renting the property because it's now an affordable unit that we want to keep in the system. Then they also don't want renters coming in and living in the houses like as an accessory apartment.
But as part of the ownership agreement, it has to be owner occupied year round. It's not it can't be a second home. It can't be leased out. It can't be sublet. You can't rent out a room. All of those are, and I'm going to tell you.
Can they build an ADU on these?
Can they build an additional ADU?
Yeah.
No, because they don't own the land.
So this will just be single ownership, no ADUs, no rentals, no.
That's correct.
Okay.
And the housing authority owns the
And the housing authority will own the parcel itself. They couldn't even build a shed without getting prior approval. They don't own the land.
I thought you were saying build an ADU on the unit.
Well, that was the initial. What I said is that when we
that's
initially looked at this as a plan, we wanted to do 6-lot subdivision, 6 homes with accessory apartments, and that was widely dismissed in several meetings. But as Cindy indicated, this is one of those rare opportunities. We have full community support.
Yeah.
I can't believe it, and I'm afraid to say it out loud.
but everyone loves the fact that it's home ownership. It's going to be owner occupied. I'm going to tell you, normally, typically, when people do things that are outside of the scope of their agreement, we hear it from the neighbors. This neighbor is part of the overall community, so no one's coming in with sheetrock and finishing the basement without us knowing or finding out. Someone's going to call. We do annual inspections. It's going to be our crew that does the maintenance on the property, mowing the lawns. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'm meticulous about how our properties are maintained and kept, because people are driving by and they're looking at them. They're using that as a basis on whether we're qualified to do what we do. And so they're always going to look impeccable. Our landscape's going to be done. Screening is going to be done to ensure that the property looks like a community. We'll be to a degree where we're also going to be adding bushes and trees and little vistas and gazebos, and it should look like a small community within a community.
And if people wanted to decorate or plant their own plantings, they'd like azaleas or whatever, can they do that, or is it just since you're?
I'm gonna ask that they ask for permission first,
Okay.
because not everyone, I mean, I have a brown thumb, no point intended, but most people are not qualified enough sometimes to plant. So I'm always concerned about placement. You know, if they start clearing out the bays and putting vegetation potentially that doesn't belong there, I'm worried about deer and the type of vegetation will
Okay.
bring in deer and the other animals.
Part of
that
the
are raised.
homeowners association
Correct.
covenants with you guys.
Correct.
Speaking of vegetation, are you planning on revegetating the overcleared area in that?
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Our housing authority was working with a developer prior when we were talking about doing the single-family home with accessory apartment above garage. It was a modular company. We were working in tandem. They're no longer part of the project. They came to the house. They came to the building department. They asked if there was any clearing restrictions. Their concern was bringing the crates for the modular, bringing the crates at the rear of the property, the topography, and so they believed that they should, that they wanted to clear the property, clear the parcel. This is never going to happen again. It's one of those things where, unfortunately, they were told wrong information or wrong direction. We have a better rapport and communication in terms of our offices to ensure that this measure doesn't happen. But to answer your question, it will be landscaped. We're looking at fencing for the parcel, so that each and every one of the things that CAC talked about is having a sense of ownership and having privacy of their own. We'll be looking at fences to ensure that although they don't own the parcel and these aren't subdivided, it will look like it's a subdivided parcel or community.
So between each house will be a fence.
Yes.
But in the back, you're going to revegetate the property.
Yes.
And that's
Well, in accordance with also whatever green space, open space, like entertainment space we have back there. So it'll be screened from the neighbors in the rear, but we also have I want to put a gazebo, I want to put a fire pit, and things that the community would want to use and have a sense of community.
Right, but you do have clearing restrictions here, so I just want to make it clear that it's just because you cleared it previous doesn't give you any, it would have to be revegetated basically.
Understood.
Or clearing rights transferred on, there's just no now we're going to use this for this, if you over cleared.
Understood.
So you have the percentage in APOD that has.
And that would go through planning, I'm assuming, to talk about what the screening plan would be.
Great.
And we will
And then the other thing is just that in your pre-app report, when you were looking for the subdivision, I don't know if it said this, but your lot width is short. Like you're supposed to have 200 feet for the frontage, so that is a ZBA
Correct.
situation. Okay, I just wanted everyone to know. It's not anything that's bad, but it's just another step. So if the board wants to consider it, I would recommend you do that sooner than later.
So that can that be in tandem with the planning application?
Oh,
if
yeah.
It's brought to you, elect to consider.
It's up to the board, but yeah, you can always go for the ZBA in parallel.
Okay.
How much of a variance is needed?
It's 186 and they need 200 feet. Not much, but
186 to 200.
yeah. The relief is 200
That's just-
feet
that's
to
lot width?
186
It's
in
just lot
R20.
width, yeah.
It's the standard. So
Get variances.
we got rid of those tools where you were able to modify it as the legislative body. We don't have that anymore. So you're would if it was the older days, you'd have done it and like modified. There's
a lot of planning tools we lost.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just one of the.
Also want to advise that we'll be using the Fuji clean water 7.5 system on each individual home will have its own system. Each individual homeowner will have their service contract related with that. We take care of the install, but they will have to take care of the pump outs and make sure that that's done on a regular basis. But as part of the requirement, they would have to establish that annual contract with an entity we would
And they have to keep that going.
And they have to keep that going.
You wouldn't just include that in their HOA fees?
I thought.
Well, I guess because everyone will be getting pumped at different varying.
Exactly. Not only that, but right now, and that may actually happen too. Right now, we're doing two things. One, I have to make sure that we keep this under 80% AMI. What I'm running into is that pricing. It's become very expensive now to build out here in the East End.
Don't we have with affordables?
You can use it through the community housing funds, and we will be looking to take.
No, I'm talking about water quality for the septic. Can't we do that if it's an affordable unit?
Yep.
And
So
we've
that
used
grant
it,
round would be in
and
March.
we've used it for the Riverside sites. So that does is a reimbursement program.
And it's not worth cost-wise doing 9 homes to one system.
No, we went to the health department, and from it was a recommendation from the health department that we have individual systems. When someone I'm trying to get something done, and I'm still going to have to get board review because this is a superset set. So therefore, I'm going to have to get review. If they say it's a suggestion, I'm going to go with it.
But you got the transfer credits now.
Yes, so we've already
So
talked
we
to
have
Dave
the
Wilcox.
credits already done.
We've
I saw that.
identified.
Did we do that, Jens?
Yep.
That was back in
That
October?
was done in October.
Last meeting.
October 22nd.
Okay.
You
They
just
need-
transferred residual credits to the housing authority, and now they're saying they want to apply them here.
Right.
The 1,600.
Yeah.
Well, I like this, and I like the design. I know it went through a couple of iterations, but I applaud your patience and due diligence to working with the town board, and I also want to commend the housing authority for all the great work that you've been doing
Thank
as
you.
well.
Thank you. And I appreciate. I tell you, things are a lot different now. I appreciate the support, and not only the support, but the confidence you have in our agency. So we have a lot to do. There's a lot of work that is still ahead of us, and I know that we're going to be successful.
How can we help you?
Money. Money.
Well, that's, you come into the housing fund, obviously.
So with zoning on this, I think that was one of the requirements to have the acquisition reimbursed. So we're going to be, we have an application submitted already pending zoning on this particular project. I would hope, in light of seeing the overall, at least the initial phase, you recognize this is a viable project with no community concerns and opposition, and that you would disperse at least the acquisition. So we can now factor that into, because we have 4 more projects to do.
Which also helps you towards other funding.
Correct. Any other questions?
No?
Thank you.
Well, thank
I
you.
like the plan.
Very
Thank
good
you.
presentation.
Thank you. Next phase, so it would be open and then.
There's a resolution that would be sponsored by one or all of the board members or
Okay.
some, and they would elect to consider.
Okay.
And then we get through that, then you're placing the MF 44 on the property. This is a zoning request. And then after at the
This
same
is a
time while we're
change of
going through
zone?
that process, yes, this is a change of zone
I'd be happy to
to
be a sponsor.
MF 44.
It has to be MF 44. We only because of how the site planning is currently. We're never going to be able to get quarter-acre lots out of this, and it's kind of set up as half-acre lot zoning right now.
And it's MF 44, and there's some minor variances, so we would coordinate lead agency with the zoning board of appeals and have, synergize all that. at
What's the
one
zone
time.
now, Jen?
R20. And we definitely,
MF44 allows single family or cottage style or these, different, and that's something you could do moving forward is looking at like, well, what are these little small ones? Are they really MF44s or some other zoning category that you can choose that helps do a quicker process if it's, say under so many units, so you don't have to go through, they have to go through the same hullabaloo as anybody else who's, somebody who's asking for 50 and they're only asking for 9. So maybe there's a way to like streamline these smaller ones so that we're not, doing all this and everybody just wants it to happen. If you want it to happen, we can make it happen.
You're only like 2+ units over current zoning.
Right.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't seem fair to go through this
Right.
whole.
They're that like little density incentive.
It just doesn't match up with anything.
We
So
tried
we're
every
trying
way,
to take a
tried every
look at like what does work, and maybe it's not MF44. Maybe there's this other zoning category that we can
Because I really
conceive of.
would rather not put MF44 zoning and
as a label.
increase the density too. I mean, like,
ZBA application?
I believe the pre-app report from the planning board discusses the density incentive, and it doesn't get to 9, I think it's just one more.
Yeah, it's only one more. So you get like, it's not enough. So it's like, one way it's too much, and the other way it's not enough. So what we're trying to get at is there should be this sort of other consideration of a category that fits the bill for these smaller, great little additions to our communities that aren't seen as onerous or out of context, that you can say, and then provide a little bit more of an expeditious process around that, so that we, can focus your time and effort on the larger, more complicated things, and these are sort of more routine if you like them.
I like
Thank
it.
you.
Okay, good. Thank you for going to the community as well.
Thank you. Well, we're going back. Actually, we're following up now, letting you know about this discussion. I'll be at the Tuesday's meeting.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna grab some water.
yeah, but if you let them know there's no rentals involved, they'll be.
Oh, yeah. The well can't be, right? I know that the accessory apartment was a huge issue with them. But I think the main concern was the rental.
Yeah.
And also oversight.
Yep.
Let's,
I need some water.
You're welcome.
Thirsty.
I
Lots of you
am.
thirsty.
Do you have an extra one of those? I lost one.
I'm not sure, but I can always put one down in the kitchen.
I mean the report.
But Wayne, did you just decide you want to hang out with us today?
well, I'm there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Actually, I have it. It's here.
Oh, he's a housing.
Oh, maybe I don't.
I can always get another one.
Just give me
Just
one
said
so
you
I
could
can
read
read
it.
Coffee?
Yeah.
You didn't have to. This is the, Southampton Point instead
Oh,
of
I have
rentals.
It's ironic, it's like right across from the other
I
guy.
know. But it's on a different road.
Yes, exactly. You don't have to ingress and egress onto 39.
No.
This one had 15 affordable units. It was a pretty big distinction between
Thank you.
the affordable and market rate.
Oh, finishes. Oh.
One of my daughters was like got a low lottery back in she was like, I had the same picture. So they got me more for
What? I saw pictures online. It's like Home Depot.
the regular units was beautiful. Yeah. I went through one of the models.
Actually, Jim, I gotta steal yours because I forgot.
All
to
right,
steal
all right.
Where did everybody
Second
go?
class citizen.
I don't know. I guess we
They
should
were
get
thirsty.
the
We just end our work
informal
session?
break.
Length of a meeting can only go as long as the human bladder can. I think Hitchcock said that about movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thomas Jefferson. Or?
Do you have a site plan of your anything? like
Yeah, I
that?
brought a few extra copies just in case, but there's one included in the back of the letter. Very simple, just has a line drawn on it. You know, this is it.
Great.
There's a couple copies in there. I drew it on too. That one's more visible though.
Teresa, can you bring up Fairfield?
Yes, of course.
pronounce your last name?
Okay, so, well, Tommy John just stepped out too, but, our next topic is this a request to change two conditions at Southampton Point Fairfield Residential PDD. We still have Janice here with us,
Still here.
and, Greg Kalninsky, attorney for the applicant.
So my name's Greg Kalninsky. I'm with Vercelli Deegan Tirana. I'm here on behalf of the Southampton Point Condominium Homeowners Association. It's a very straightforward request. I know it's been a long meeting for you all today.
Oh, don't worry about that.
We're used to it.
They're basically asking for two things. The first thing relates to permitting rentals for certain units. There's a total of 50 units in the condo development, half of which are reserved for certain degrees of affordability. We're not asking to permit rentals for the affordable units because the condo association recognized that that type of restriction serves an inclusionary purpose, right? It makes sure that those units are being utilized by the individuals that need the affordable housing. This only relates to the 25 remaining market rate units, where if you kind of look at the flip side, imposing that type of restriction is almost like exclusionary. It's saying, well, you could only buy here, you can never rent here. The condo association got together and, this was enacted in 2009. I believe the town board was looking out for what the town board believed was in the best interest of the residents. But now that some time has gone by, the residents of the condo association got together and said that they would like to explore rentals of the 25 market rate units only, leaving the restrictions on the affordable units.
What kind of rentals?
Pursuant to the town's rental registry, and whatever other conditions the board might impose, but what they had in mind is simply allow us to register on the town rental registry and rent it.
permit.
So some of these
Yeah.
people might wanna rent it out for the summer or conversely for the winter when they're not here.
Exactly.
Or Airbnb?
Well, that's not allowed in our code.
That's not the rental permit code,
Yeah, right, rental.
All the units are sold.
Yes. My understanding is they're all occupied, sold.
So you said that when was this a zone change that was originally? Okay, and a
This
condition?
was a zone change from highway business to residential plan development district, which we were mentioning, there's no more of those tools where the board at the, back then would set up the zoning, it's not like your typical zoning code. The zoning is codified into our code. And so anytime anybody wants to change anything, they have to come through this process. So it's different than any other code we have. So the ones that are, there's like A through, I think, V. We never got to
It
Z.
actually allows for greater oversight because any changes have to come
Right,
back.
so it's the zoning is the codified law of the PDD. That's how it works. So any changes have to literally recodify, renotice the law. When we got rid of PDDs, it was recognized that you're not throwing out the existing PDDs that are zoned that way and that they could come back in and ask for amendments. So we've had a number of them over the years. Most recently, you may recall, it was Canoe Place Inn. It came for a couple of changes.
But you're saying the rentals will not be the affordable units?
No, the restrictions are going to remain on the affordable units, just the market rate units. We're asking to be able to get a rental
How
permit.
many
This-
affordable units are they?
25 affordable and 25 market for a
Because
total
this
of
says 15.
50.
This is 10 moderate, 5 middle, so 15.
Because there's different affordable rates.
Yeah, there's different levels
Yeah.
of affordable rates, but in total, just for purposes of discussion, I lump them in together.
Yeah.
Any type of unit with an affordable designation or some income-related designation, there's 25 of them total.
Because this says, and then 35, you're saying 25 market rate, but in the summary says 35. I'm just trying to get a proper number.
No, it's in the code, in the office section, it spells it out in the code section.
Yeah, it's probably right, 15.
I thought it was 15.
Yeah, it's
15
probably
and
15, not
35.
25. Yeah, I think it's 35 and 15.
Yeah, that's my recollection.
It's 15. Oh, sorry, it is 15 units.
Yeah.
My mistake.
So 15 are the affordables, and he's saying no
30,
change.
yeah. No change
And
to any.
35 are owned, and those owners want to be able
To
to
rent.
get a rental permit. And that, but the code says, no, you can't do that. And so
Janice-
they are now given a rental permit by our.
Are the
rent-
15
code
owned
enforcement.
also?
Or how does the 15 affordables work out?
They're owned.
They're owned.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
owned. They went through
They
the,
go through our system.
yeah, we went through the Long Island Housing Partnership and for the 15.
We pulled the lottery in the gym downstairs.
We did, yeah.
Janice, do you remember when they were coming in for their permit, you know, what the discussion was on and around rentals on this property?
Well, there's always
I mean,
the
I want to
same-
go, and the reason why I want to check it out because my sense is that in order to get this permit, that this was a covenant that the developers agreed to at that time.
So the developer, of course, is long gone, and now you have the condominium association. At the time, it was a contentious application because it's 3 stories. If you drive by there, you don't realize it, but it's actually 3 stories. And this was we're still having those arguments today. But the other side of the concern was the people in the area didn't want it to be, they didn't really want it to not have like the staying power of someone who owned it. I think that was part of that. But in addition, there was concerns about, the existing highway business uses now having to contend with residential. And you'll see like that is the next part of your request.
Right.
Well, because now, there have been some conflicts with like, say, the nightclub. But anyway, the purpose of the no rental thing was to have this, it was seen as ownership was a better model. That's the best answer.
And probably did it because they were afraid that someone would buy 4 units and rent them out.
But it's also worth stating that there is a condominium, board of owners of the property that are not gonna allow their property values to tank. So they're not gonna do they're not gonna I know that they're very active, and they have been very active in the situation that they're dealing with a property across the street. So I don't think that they're wanting to do anything that's gonna affect their property values. That would be seen as, blight on the community or improper renting or to the point of Airbnbs. I mean, I would think that people would self-police themselves in here because.
There's no question about that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if there is,
I mean,
indeed a
they're
covenant-
making complaints about quality of life issues, so I can't see them creating quality of life issues, is what I'm getting at.
Do they plan on putting covenants on themselves for their renters or renting or any parameters? I
Like
know
stricter than
homeowners
ours?
associations do that. Is that something that they're considering?
They're-
Only year-round rentals, only rentals?
Their intent was to simply be whatever is congruent with the town code and permitted by the town code. That's the flexibility they want to have. I could follow up with them to see if they're trying to put on additional restrictions.
I think we
in the
just
event that
wouldn't
there's
really like a short-term rental Airbnb model here. It
Right.
would be the same, like you said, you're going away for the winter or the summer or some length of time that is consistent with the town code and not a continuous turnover. That's not what we're talking about here.
Does the code address rentals of condominiums?
It's rentals in general.
It's just
It's our
rentals
rental
in
law.
gen- it doesn't matter.
Okay, so
This one just has an extra restriction on it.
part of the proposal here discusses it lists out a couple of comments, and a couple of them discuss increased affordable housing. So, are some of the rental terms going to be restricted in terms of like how much the owners will charge for rent, or that hasn't been discussed?
That hasn't been discussed. We wanted to see, like I said, very simply, if the town board would have any appetite to permitting just the market rate units to rent. If you all would like me to take anything back to the condo association as far as your feedback on that issue, I'm happy to present it to them.
I mean, I don't know what my colleagues feel. I think setting some of those terms, maybe for a percentage of those units, should I don't know.
think so. I think there's already affordable, there's ownership in here.
Like I said in the beginning, they just want to have the ability to sign up for the rental permit like any other property owner. That's what they were looking to do here, and everything beyond that, like Ms. McNamara suggested, they would police themselves. They're an active condo association. They're very proud of maintaining quality of life.
My feeling is they're gonna wanna do summer rentals so that they can offset their mortgage payment, basically.
But if they wanted to rent to someone who qualified as
They
affordable
can.
and the renter wanted to avail themselves of CHF funds to help bridge the
That's-
gap, that could happen too.
that's
There's
what I
nothing
was-
stopping anyone from
Yeah.
doing that.
Referring to.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you put something out there for rent and someone came and said, I'll take it, and then they go to CHF and try to bridge the difference between the market rate rent and
That's the option.
what they can
too.
afford, they can do that.
I actually have a feeling this is gonna be summer rentals. It's-
Is it,
I
what if
mean-
they want to rent it for a year or more than a year? I mean, is there a limit under our rental code? as
The
to-
rental code
2
is
weeks.
2 years, like a year and then a year
Minimum 2
renewal.
weeks.
Minimum 2
renewal.
weeks.
Minimum 2 weeks, but yeah, you can.
Oh,
But
2
the-
weeks minimum.
No, but I meant the maximum.
I
don't
think it's
think that's a
annually or 2 years. It's a year and then a
I don't think they
renewal,
have a
right?
max.
I don't.
You
The
have to-
code enforcement does rentals, so I'm
I
not.
think
The
you have
permit
to renew
itself, but the length of the rental, I don't think is, there is.
You
I don't
can't
think there's
do
a
like
max.
Airbnb every weekend. That's out.
Right, but
Yeah.
every 2 weeks you can.
Right. So you may want to
This
change
is-
the covenant. If you had any appetite to do any of this, you may say,
No, less than a
well,
month.
we're going to change the covenant to say your rental period is X.
But
'Cause
then
you're
here's
going
what,
from no
but then
rentals.
here's what the town of Southampton, the residents are gonna say. Well, then, why can anybody rent their house for less than 2 months if you're 2 weeks? If you're saying that that's a negative thing, why are you allowing it throughout the rest of the town?
We
Well-
technically aren't.
We allow 2-week rentals.
2 weeks.
Yes.
2 week
What I'm
rentals.
saying is, if we're
Which
gonna
is-
tell these people that they can't rent for less than a month because we wanna be more restrictive, then I think the argument could be made for the rest of the town residents saying, well,
I think people
if
would
that's
be
what you're
happy if you
enforcing
did
here, why is my neighbor allowed to
agree.
rent for 2
Well,
weeks?
that's kind
There's
of
a lot
what,
of
that's the
people who would
argument
like
that's,
that, so,
excuse me, that's the argument that's being made here is, you know, why are we letting other parts of the town rent, but not this one? And the reason why is that's probably the reason why they got their permit in the first place. And everybody who owns it in there knew that this covenant was in place when they purchased. So it's not something that was either hidden or anything. They knew full well what they're doing. And I understand you're here asking for this. I'd like to go back and take a look at some of the discussions at the time and to see what kind of issue this was in the community at the time when you know this was granted.
Sure.
And also, did you go out to the community? The CAC. We have a local CAC. Are they weighing in on this at all?
I could ask the condo president that question if he had any
Mhm.
contact with civics. All that I can represent to you that I know for a fact is that they met internally, had a meeting with all the owners, and they decided this is what was in their best
Okay.
interest.
The Shinnecock Tuckahoe CAC has not been active. They haven't met, to my knowledge, over a year, so.
Yeah, so you'd be going from prohibition on rental to they're asking for the full allowance of rental code, or you may want something in between.
What year was it?
2009.
It was approved in
You might
2009,
wanna-
it probably started in
You might wanna
2007.
put in that they do have to get a rental permit from the town.
Well, that's
Oh, definitely.
that's
They
a
have
given.
Oh, yeah, no,
They would
no,
have to.
that's what they're asking
I know,
for.
but they might wanna, make sure they do it.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'd be
But there's
happy to-
another side of your request, so outside the rental issue,
Right.
maybe now it's time to segue into that.
Right. This is relates back to this condo association really cares about their quality of life. As you all may know, there's a active nightclub across the street from them, and they have certain quality of life issues that occur at night relative to there being insufficient parking and vehicles kind of meandering through their development and taking up their parking to go to the nightclub, amongst other things. It's not just the nightclub; it could be other things as well. So what they're proposing very simply is just to put down some security gates at the 2 entrances to the condo development on Tuckahoe Lane. And the security gates would be smart gates. They open with an RFID for the residents. It takes 1.3 seconds to open them. They're equipped to allow emergency responders in when they hit their squawk function. And we can coordinate that with all the emergency responders to give them notice to the extent that they don't know. As far as deliveries, you could provide one-time codes to individuals with deliveries. And on discussion with the condo association, they're open to whatever conditions you all want, but their primary concern is that they're able to close that at night, something like after 7 p.m. and on the weekends. But otherwise, they're like, we'll even leave them open all day if they want us to.
Seems
Bit of-
reasonable.
Yeah.
And they won't be lit.
Have to go to
No
planning board,
lighting?
Jen?
That's absolutely fine, no lighting,
Great.
and I have enclosed a cut sheet in the letter to the board, which shows all the technical specifications of these things, but in a nutshell, they look like any other security gate.
They have to go to
Nothing
planning board?
flashy, nothing lit up.
That'd be a
Yeah,
site
it's just
plan
a minor
amendment,
site,
a minor
it's
site plan.
actually like an administrative
Yeah.
amendment that could be done. If this is approved, then it could be done.
They do keep the place very clean.
Yeah.
And go through it, so that's nice.
This was like the end of the world when they did this, and you can see like it really
Yeah.
wasn't that big of a
Right,
deal.
right.
So
We lost the carnival lot.
yeah,
What's that vacant lot behind the club? Is that, do they use that for parking?
Yes.
that's as you know, the site of the new cannabis
There's an
dispensary.
application.
There's an
So that
application.
club's gonna disappear.
That club
perhaps.
will go away.
Yeah, but it,
And this group,
Something
they're
else.
not like naysayers to that new use, which was nice. They
I
were-
would venture to say they view it more favorably than the current use.
That's what I've heard, yeah. But is that two separate lots, or is that one lot?
The other guy, the
With
cannabis.
cannabis.
The club and
yeah,
the
I think
vacant
it's,
lot.
it's two separate lots.
Owned by the same person?
They're in
Different
corporate
names.
ownership, so.
Okay.
So it's
Different corporations.
So how do you know that it's gonna
resolution
go
for
away?
what to consider, and then a public hearing?
Nightclub will
Yeah,
go
I
away.
mean, I'm fine,
There's a site plan application for
both?
Non-medical cannabis presently pending.
and then we
Oh,
can
with
go
the
to the
nightclub.
public.
Where the
If they have problems with it, they have problems.
And how about the lot? Is anything on the lot?
No, I don't, this is,
Uh,
I didn't know. they were
I'm
gonna
not
post it
reviewing
up
the site plan application for the cannabis, but I
That's
believe it's,
J.
everything would be solely on
Oh,
this
okay.
lot,
Okay.
including parking, et cetera. But I can find out additional information if you'd like.
That's okay. Later.
So the gates are
Oh, thank
far enough in that allow like sort of queuing
they're
to
not
occur.
allowed.
Yeah,
I just
20
wanna make sure that they're far enough into the site.
We're proposing 20 feet, which is more than enough for your standard vehicle to get in there and not block up Tuckahoe Lane.
Okay, that's also a site plan issue. It really comes down to you are amending the code to allow for it, because right now it says they're prohibited. And once the code, if it is approved, is amended, then the site plan part is where
And
we
I just
say.
wanna make one more point on the rental thing, which is kind of, usually rental issues, we have complaints with neighbors. They're their own neighbors. There's no other residences around this anywhere, so.
So that's why I said in the beginning, this is what the residents there want. And when you're a developer and you have these restrictions imposed on you, however many years ago, and you go out there and you build it, you don't care because you're building it, you're selling it, and you're gone. What does it matter to you what restrictions there are? But it matters to the residents who are there now.
And as I said, they've been very active about quality of life issues, so.
It's a nice looking community. I think it came out.
This.
It was a good plan.
It got resistance at first though.
Oh.
People still don't like it,
You
just
guys
because it's blue.
You should
It
watch
did.
some of those old meetings and see how it went. For fun.
And that's probably why they had the restriction. They were trying
Yeah.
to do whatever they could.
They're trying to, provide some concessions to make it more palatable to be approved. That's
And this
really
was one of them.
Yes.
So they're asking for it to be gated and for it to be
This
rental.
is now, how many years later? It's proven to be a non-nuisance use, residential, quiet, nobody's bothering anyone, and can the owners allow themselves to have the freedom to rent them as they see fit? It's their home, so I don't think they're gonna choose anybody that's not gonna be, to their satisfaction, so. Okay, great,
right,
those are all
Thank
my
you so
items,
much.
thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
Sure,
Until next time.
next time.
All right, next we have an update by Tom Houghton, our Director of Municipal Works, on the 2025 management fee schedule.
Hey, Tom.
3 minutes ahead of schedule.
Oh, wow.
We're not necessarily
Never.
surprised.
Gonna need all of them. It's good.
Okay.
Just, ditch this.
So I have copies of the fee schedule for everybody with line items, so we can just
Go right down. Thanks, Tom.
up here. Okay. So we're here to talk about the proposed changes to the 2025 Waste Management Recycling Center fee schedule. Each year we amend the fee schedule based on the current market conditions or the trends that we're seeing at the transfer stations. So the first item that you'll see in lines 1 through 5 are a residential transfer station permit, which is detailed in Chapter 205, Section 9 of the Town Code. This is a brand new item as far as a fee schedule proposal. It's been in the code since late 2020, but we have never assigned a fee, nor have we enforced this section of the Town Code. We're finding
Because there was no fee to enforce.
Correct. No fee, no permit. Like we could require a permit for free, but then that's a cost to my department to put that forward, especially since we're expecting upwards of 10,000 permits to be issued. There's 70,000 residents in the town. If you want to use transfer station, we're asking that the permit section be enforced in the code. And the reasons for that are we're finding that there appear to be a lot of commercial contractors utilizing the transfer station for disposal of construction and demolition debris and for bulk and for metal. Our New York State DEC permit allows us to be a residential drop-off location. So we're supposed to just take residential waste, not commercial waste from contractors.
How does that work then? Contractors, are they living in the town?
Yes.
And they fill up their trucks and
Yeah,
trailers
it's,
and they bring it up to us and
exactly.
and we get
And
10
then
yards of construction debris.
They come in
Okay.
in their work truck and they show us their residential their driver's license that says they live in Watermill or North Sea or East Quogue. And my scale attendants, they know who's coming in and they know what the waste is. And we look at the truck and we're like, there's no way you're a contractor. Like, this isn't from your house. And then it just turns into a pretty big argument that we really don't want to have. Okay.
But contractors from Brookhaven, from other places, I don't mean to choose
Yeah,
one
yeah,
town, but they cannot do that.
Those are turned away because we're able to screen them by license.
Okay.
So really, it's our contractors within the town that are almost taking advantage of the use of the residential transfer stations.
Well, one could say that we're helping our contractors within the town by allowing them to do this, but go on.
Potentially.
Yeah.
In addition to that, it would help us screen out the commercial carters because a commercial carting permit is required to haul waste within the town. So if a carter has the sticker and they're required to participate in the permit as per town code, then we would screen them out automatically. We see a yellow sticker, we see the pink sticker on the bumper. Hey, you can't dump your waste here. You can dump some landscaping debris, but that's about it. No C&D, no bulk, nothing like that. So this would allow us to differentiate between the two and to help keep the waste as per our existing permit, which is to be residential waste at the transfer stations.
Could you explain the difference between primary residential self-hauler permit and secondary residential self-hauler permit?
Yeah, so the difference is an ability to provide a discounted second permit for your partner, for your child in your household. So we're kind of following East Hampton's lead here a little bit in that they allow a maximum of 2 permits per household.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can't buy 30 permits and hand them out like we do that with beach stickers. So that this way we could provide somewhat of a discount. We're not trying to charge an exuberant fee. If you already have one sticker and you just need one for a second car, it would just be at a lesser rate. This $15 could be $5. It could be $1. We'd like to stay closer to $5 because that would help best cover our costs to procure the stickers, to handle the applications, to get the stickers back out. There's going to be a fair amount of administrative work to handle 10,000 something permits. Parks Department has summer interns, or not summer interns, but summer staff that sit at a table all day, and that's all they do is beach stickers. So it's not going to be on the level of beach stickers, I don't think, but it's still going to be a pretty heavy lift for the department. So a second category or third category in there is for seniors and veterans, would be a discounted rate from the initial rate. And then the third category would be a no permit residential self-hauler. That category only works if it's less than the initial permit rate. So if you think you're going to go to the transfer station 3 or more times, you just get the regular permit. But if you're just going to pop in and drop off a mattress, we're giving a discount just to be able to use that service, and then understand that next time you come, there would be another permit fee. So
if you have a green bag, you still need a permit.
Correct, you do. And I'll explain that as we start to get into our recyclables item. Yeah, no, but that's a good question. So the green bag covers the cost of the recyclables, but we're finding that the recyclables aren't as profitable as they used to be at all. But we're also trying to verify that, easily verify that these are residents. Okay, let's say you're visiting the West Hampton transfer station. We don't exchange cash at that station, so anyone from anywhere could go to a store, buy a green bag, and dispose of waste at our transfer station. It's always been that our transfer station is for our residents, and that permit would allow our staff at the transfer station to easily identify those people who are residents because they have a permit. We would be able to screen that out in the office. If we want to open it up to anybody, as long as they purchase a green bag, then that's a different conversation entirely.
How about renters?
Renters, they are allowed, and they just provide proof of their
Would
rental.
they need a permit?
They would.
If the owner, if the landlord had the permit and the landlord rented their house out for 2 weeks, say it's, well, whatever, they sell it for, and so the people who are here for 2 weeks are most likely not going to get a permit.
Sure, so they
And
would
I know
use-
part of our rental permit is garbage pickup, but some folks will probably still have trash on their own.
I would expect they either do the $5 per trip, or if the landlord only bought one ticket or one permit, and they wanted to buy a secondary resident permit, then they maybe give that to the renter. I don't know how that really works. I would expect them, if they're going to be here for 2 weeks, I mean, maybe they go to the landfill twice or the trash station twice, and they do the $5 per trip. That's where that kind of comes in.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing here. I always was under the notion that we should make throwing waste out as easy as possible, but make it, make the numbers work. I understand the residential issue. I'm concerned that if we make it harder, people are going to find other ways to dispose of their trash. It's just going to happen, including yard waste, and we've gone to great and this is not to you, this is to the board, and to the world.
We already have an issue with that.
But we've gone to great extent to clean up places in the woods and all that stuff. With what we're doing, and we actually have somebody hired full time to clean it up. I just think making this less accessible, with fees, is going to exacerbate that and make it worse. So, that's to the board. I know we put this in place, and I mean, to have a permit to now throw away green bags that we purchase, I think the notion, if I could, I think the notion of solid waste is some kind of area where we could either make money or have it pay for itself is fundamentally flawed. I believe that this is a service of the town, and that the town should be providing the service so other people or whatever, they don't just throw their trash out. I know we have problems in our parks and other places with people disposing of their trash. So
the issue is that recyclables are costing us a lot of money to get rid of, and there are a lot of people using the transfer station that are doing arguably a good thing by bringing us their recyclables, but they're not bringing us their trash because they have trash pickup. So we are paying to dispose of their recyclables without getting any, because it was supposed to be the green bags were supposed to offset the
I understand.
So the goal is, and Tom can correct me if I'm wrong, to do this permitting to get a real number of who is using our transfer station, and then once we go to on-site the bags and the vending machines,
Oh, yes.
we can lower the price of the green bags because we will be getting money from the permit. So arguably, we're going to find out where we're at and where we need to be with the cost of the permit versus the
Mhm.
bags, so that we're paying for what people are disposing.
Right, I understand the issue, I just disagree with it. And I also think that we should make it easier for our residents to throw away some of their commercial waste. And it should be a,
We're
There
moving
for
towards
them.
Brookhaven shutting down, and
It's gonna be west.
How do they get these permits?
Yeah, so the permits would be, you'd be able to apply by mail or stop in at the office. We would check your registration or your insurance or anything, just the same way that a beach permit is obtained. What I wanted to back up to say is that the permits are gonna help us at the transfer station. Do I need to obtain a fee initially for these permits? No, like our department could take that on. It would be a cost to the department, but just having a permit itself, even if the permit was free, it's a quick and easy way to allow our sanitation helpers at the transfer station to ensure that those people at the transfer station are permitted to use it.
do you have a projected administration cost for this permitting and bringing on this type of system?
I mean-
Are we gonna have to hire someone?
I don't think we'll have to hire,
But-
well, excuse me,
let's-
I probably will soon be, I am down one administrative staff at this
Mhm.
point, probably a second one in the near future. But we're looking at about $5,000 for stickers, and I don't know how many we're gonna get.
Okay.
We have an estimate of 10,000 of residents using our station, but
And then,
it's-
and just to, if I
Yeah.
may, the cost that you're breaking down is exactly what we're thinking about now, and what you imagine
Yeah.
could be a gap. This is to help mitigate that.
Yeah, it's a small gap. I mean, our budget is massive. Our employee cost alone is 1.4 million to have our employees on site. It's like $4,000 a day to have the transfer stations open. Missing one sheet. Here we go.
So the current plan is to do it with the staff that already exists?
Yes, and the sticker is really an office staff item,
Mhm.
which is encumbered by municipal works, by engineering. I have office staff that aren't assigned to waste management that we all share the workload. My office is 5 divisions, but we act as one. So just for 2023 alone, we took in 2.1 million in revenue, and we had expenditures of 3.4 million. We had a $1.3 million deficit based on our previous fee schedule in 2023. 400,000 of that was made up with taxes. 450,000 was made up with taxes, but we ended up with a $900,000 deficit. We're an enterprise account, and my goal is that we're almost like a not-for-profit. We're zero at the end of the year. That would be fantastic. But and there are a couple ways we can do it. One is less staff, which I can't do. We're pretty much bare bones, right? The second is to increase efficiency. That's kind of the only other direction that I can go to.
And we actually are working on that.
So I have a lot of things that we're working on there, but we'll get to that when we start to.
But so my only issue with this is, and to Councilman Scavoni's point, I do believe that we need to make it easier for people to properly dispose of trash. And actually, when that legislation went through for the permit to require the permit for self-haulers, I actually fought it as a resident because I didn't like that the town board was putting it in the code, and they could do exactly what this is doing and put a fee on it at any time without a public hearing. Now, that being said, we used to have a solid waste advisory committee when Christine was here.
Yes.
John did away with that committee, and it allowed us to have these conversations where we had people from the community that use the transfer station to understand what our numbers were, and we would go through recyclable rates, and we would, and then they brought some good things back in. So, I mean, we're kind of going through this in a needs benefit to us, when I think it needs more public input, because most of the people that use our transfer station are of limited means. I mean, I know there's contractors that abuse it,
Yes.
but most of the people that utilize this instead of having a private carter, they do so because they can downsize their garbage, and they're very good about composting and getting rid of the recyclables, and I mean, they get it down to a green bag like a week.
Yeah.
So that's my fear, is that those people are gonna be affected by this. And I don't want to disincentivize recycling, because, you know, our code does require that haulers that, you know, waste, when you get your garbage picked up, they're supposed to be recycling. There is no recycling going on in the town of Southampton if you're not self-hauling. So, you know, that's something I think we need to look at as well. But if we look at that, I believe it's just going to become more expensive for everybody down the road.
So just 2 notes on that, if I may. So recycling does allow us to dispose of those recyclable materials at a reduced cost from garbage. Garbage costs us $96 a ton to get rid of. Recyclables costs us $60 a ton. So that's a $36 differential that we are saving in disposal costs by separating out that material. So it's definitely beneficial to do that. And secondly, I feel if we can eliminate the injection of taxes into this cost center to make up our deficit, if we can eliminate the tax input, then it could be open to everybody. And then it wouldn't be borne by the residents. You know, and then maybe we don't need a permit at that point. But right now, we're not making enough money, and our residential taxes are making up the difference.
But even East Hampton has said, East Hampton, Bill, I know you went there,
Yeah,
and they have permits but no green bags, and they were saying if they had the green bags, the system would be great, because then you're.
But they also, myself and Tom was there a few days ago, and we're gonna be looking into getting grants. We missed, the grant lady had some trouble, so it was canceled, but we could make a big difference up in the price of in his budget if we bought a packet of pack the cardboard, and it could, because once it's packed, the increase of the value goes way up, especially around Christmas time. And also, would they take the glass, separate the glass, get a grinder, and grind the glass up, then the highway can use the glass. It's like sand, and when they clean out the drains, they can use that, and they can use it for backfilling instead of buying sand. And that's a big cost, then because you don't have to cart the glass away, you just cart the plastic away. The plastic's a lot lighter.
Glass is something that we actually sell, right?
We do not sell
No?
glass. Glass has not, plastic, and
No more?
it hasn't been profitable since 2018.
Well, it hasn't been profitable, but somebody's buying it, right?
Oh no, we have to pay to dispose of it. It is no longer something that's
It's not
in the process.
recycled. Glass is not recycled. That's
It is it's recyclable, but it's not desirable.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's the trouble. And
yes,
if we can take the glass out and use the glass in-house, take the cardboard and pack it and sell it, that's a big difference.
it makes a difference. We're still in a deficit after that.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
Not
So
as
my
much.
second page kind of discusses that. But if we could work through the fee schedule, and then I can go over how these changes affect our.
Years ago, we used to recycle the glass by different color plastics.
Sure.
I mean,
That was
and
way
now
before
everything's
me, yeah.
yeah. Well,
think
and I
that's
always
backwards.
wondered how that worked as far.
Market's really
if,
changed, unfortunately.
It's a
yeah, well, if
commodity.
we were able to quantify or qualify our recycling streams, right, brown
Sure.
glass, green glass, I mean, would it be marketable then?
So currently, no one is buying that type of glass. There's
Okay.
no market on Long Island for that. I'm trying to make a market for it by pursuing a glass crushing machine
Mm-hmm.
where we can then separate our glass out, because our glass weighs. So we dispose of glass, plastic, metal altogether by the ton. We pay $60 a ton. Out of that ton, glass is 70% of the weight. So if we can pull that glass out, then we'll pay 70% less in disposal fees for that commingled product, which
Glass is not even being
So-
recycled up west.
yeah, correct.
I mean, do we crush it and break it when we
Exactly,
sell it?
yeah.
Okay,
So-
so the liquids come out. We're not paying for
Grab
a bottle of Sprite.
this is glass. Where's my this is glass?
Okay, anyway, you
Yeah,
can go
so
on. I like it.
that's- yeah, it's a lot of numbers.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll talk offline.
I think it's cheaper.
The second item that we're adding is the commercial carder permits. Already exist in the code. We already issue permits. We already charge fees. It's just trying to add it to the fee schedule so it's in an easily recognizable place so that the fees are understandable. Right now, you got to go to the website and get to a bunch of different pages to find
Are
it.
we checking to make sure when they apply for a carder permit that they're a licensed contractor in the town?
We are not.
Can we do that?
Yeah, we can add that. The thing is that, actually, let me back up. So this is for anyone hauling waste in or through the town. So if you're picking up waste and doing a contracting job in East Hampton and you're traveling through the town, you're required to have a carding permit in the town of Southampton. So that might be an issue.
Well, can we just put a delineation on their permit that they are a licensed contractor in the town and permitted to use the landfill versus just traveling through?
I think that would be difficult. We'd be creating different stickers for those contractors.
Can't just put like an asterisk on them?
And secondly, the only contractors that are allowed to use the landfill are those disposing of vegetative yard waste.
But you don't have to have a town, you don't have to be a town business or
No.
have your town based in the business to use the transfer station.
To dispose of vegetative yard waste. So if you hire a landscaper from Riverhead to clean up your leaves at your house, and the landscaper is disposing of those leaves at the town transfer station, there's a fee. We make sure they have a carding permit, but we don't make sure that they were a business based in the town.
But if you're not a resident, you can't use the transfer station.
As a resident, yeah.
But as a commercial entity, you can use our transfer station if you're not based in the town.
It's been such a sticking point because if a resident hires that person, why does that person need to be based in the town?
But how do we
It's kind
know
of
that they're bringing waste from a town resident and not outside of the
But they need to be registered to work in the town of Southampton.
Yeah,
is what I'm getting at.
Which is that would be combining like the licensing bureau and us at the same time. So
But we're putting it all online, so it should hopefully be easier. I mean, right now it's just there's a PDF that you can search, but I just feel like I don't think carters from outside of the town that aren't even licensed to do work in the town of Southampton should be disposing of their waste in the town of Southampton.
yes, that's something we would be checking at the scale, I guess.
And I don't want those guys to have to do it either.
Exactly. So maybe we could do a different.
Well, I mean,
permit for
we
those
can
people.
have that conversation offline. That's just
Yeah.
something that I think we should look at doing.
Like, I'd like to close the landscapers and just have residential yard waste and all that, but it's residential leaves for the most part, residential brush that someone can't haul to the transfer station themselves, so they're paying someone else to do it. It's kind of the only commercial avenue that we allow, leaves and brush. So
And do they pay each time they
yes.
deposit
Per yard.
the
So brush and leaves. So leaves are free for residents all year. Brush is for residents is $20 per cubic yard, or we charge a fee per bag if the resident bags it. Contractors or landscapers and estate care, we call it. Not really contractors, but their fee is higher than the residential. Currently, residents pay $20. Landscapers and estate care pay $25 per cubic yard of material to come in. There's no usage fee for the transfer station for the landscapers and the estate care. So come in, the scale operator assesses your load, figures out how many yards, what the material is, whether it's leaves or brush, and then they charge a fee accordingly.
So I just, again, wanted just for the board's edification that up until last year, as a homeowner, you could get a voucher to dispose of your leaves with your landscapers for free. Now those residents are paying, they're paying $25 a yard?
Today, yes.
And then, so this is now gonna go up to $40 a yard that the residents will be
Is
paying.
what we're requesting. If the resident visits the transfer station with the landscaper and they say, these are my leaves, then we'll take them. We don't charge at that point. Also, Highway has the leaf
Oh,
pickup.
you're making a nightmare for landscapers.
It's difficult to prove where the leaves are coming from.
And so can't you, I mean, it's also difficult to say, I mean, you could just drive around with residents and take them to the transfer station with you and continue to dump all, I mean, it's like, you're going back to the voucher system then.
Yeah, we only have 3 operators for our scales at this point, so they tend to recognize the same people coming through day after day.
No, but I
so-
mean, you could have one landscaper with 10 accounts, get 4 people to come and dispose of the leaves for all those accounts with 4 people.
Yeah, I mean, or or that resident brings them for free.
It's the voucher system.
It's difficult.
Just you have to bring the person instead of a voucher.
Yep. So, which is definitely much harder. You can't make copies of people. So,
No.
There were definitely photocopies of vouchers going around previously. So, yeah, it's the 40 is the same as East Hampton. So we were trying to match what they were charging.
Keep it uniform.
But I just want to say, a year ago, residents could get vouchers to do it for free.
And that's well, they would give the voucher to their landscaper, and the landscaper would then give the voucher to my scale operator, and they would.
Yeah, so the residents weren't getting charged.
And the fee would get charged back to the highway department.
Mm-hmm. Which they obviously don't want to pay, and I don't blame them.
Correct. Yep. And the chargeback was kind of out of their hands at that point because there's could be no end to the vouchers or no end to the volume.
And that went from, we used to pick up leaves on the roadway for free. We stopped doing that on bulk leaves, and then we went to the voucher system, and now the voucher system is gone, and now we're upping the price. So that's where we.
Yeah, but we do now pick up leaves off the roadway.
In bags.
It's not my program.
No, I know.
Yeah. So, I mean,
So we used to be able to sell cardboard and glass and plastic until about 2017, right? 2018,
no,
I remember.
Cardboard's still profitable.
Okay.
Paper's still profitable.
Okay.
But,
Who buys it?
We have multiple vendors that purchase it. Great Northern Fiber, Winter Brothers. There is a commodity price for the cardboard.
Okay, good.
So, but it's the cardboard is real tricky because we actually, even though we sell cardboard, we lose money on cardboard.
Yeah,
We're in the
it's-
negative.
right,
Because of the hauling fees associated with the cardboard because it's so light. We can't get it packed tight enough to put enough in the truck to make the trip pay for itself. So that's why we're looking at bailing next year.
Because once he bails it, and he could actually store some of it and play the, like East Hampton, he calls up once a week on the prices, and he follows, the price. If he thinks the price is too low, he keeps his cardboard in-house and just waits. And it goes back up. He says, right around Christmas time, the cardboard hits the sky, and that's when he sells a lot of it. We were down there, and he has his whole room full of cardboard, just waiting for the price to go up.
So he has an interior storage room for
Trailer. Yeah, East Hampton has a
recyclables.
significant amount of interior space in order to properly process waste.
Well, one of the things I'd like to look at is to, how do we incentivize recycling? Now, if it's profitable, fantastic. If it's, if it's something that we have to pay, I do believe we should be recycling.
Isn't entirely incentivized through the greenback. Through the
Well, if we put a
pay-as-you-throw.
permit on it, this is, kind of one of the drawbacks of putting a permit on the use of the green bags and the recycling. I believe it disincentivizes recycling.
It would disincentivize you to utilize the transfer station potentially, but once
Which is
you're
our
in the-
recycling program for
is our
cardboard.
waste management program. Because you would
Is
still
that
have
where
to-
you put the cardboard in the
Yeah.
things that we're talking? Okay.
Yeah. So
Am I using the wrong words, Tom?
I just think so. Once you're in, you still have to utilize the green bag.
Okay. Right.
So the level of recycling is still exactly the same. It's just whether or not you choose to utilize the transfer station or not via the permit system.
Right, because there are people that do have pickup,
Yes.
once every week, but yet they like to recycle.
Correct.
And they
we-
believe they're doing the right thing, and I think
We'd
they
love
should
to take
continue.
their paper. We'd love to take their cardboard, but their commingled recyclables cost the town money for everyone that's put in our bin.
That's good. This should be coupled with some kind of public information. People will read this stuff and they'll do it.
Yeah,
we
it's-
have them
it's just-
trained
it's-
pretty well.
It's all offset by the fees on the green bags.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are not buying green bags and you're putting recyclables at the town, they'll get recycled, but the town is paying for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cost to us.
Right.
So for if you got a pile of goods and you're going to separate them out into different piles, if you didn't buy a green bag, then we're losing money.
Yes, it costs us money and it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do. But when we're an enterprise fund trying to make up a deficit that's now funded by the taxpayers, it's we end up raising fees to make up for that.
And at the end of the day, these people are bringing the recyclables there, trying to do the right thing because their private carters are not forcing them to recycle. And that's our town code, that the carters have to recycle.
That is the bigger issue in the town because the majority of residents utilize carters. Maybe 15, maybe 20% of the residents utilize the town.
I think we're one of the only municipalities where you don't see recycle bins out at the curb on collection day. It's all thrown out together.
If there was garbage districts throughout the town, then we could effectively control via our procurement process what the garbage collectors are required to do.
Even private carters, if we
Well,
were to create districts, we could.
So it honestly, it wouldn't make sense to have a private carter because your taxes would be paying towards the garbage district.
Mhm.
So in your taxes, it'd be $300, $400, $500 a year, whatever, based on the bid, and there would be collection twice a week. There'd be recyclable collection every other week.
Municipal pickup.
It's municipal pickup, but we would never want to take that program on. We would want to contract out
Right,
for a
of course.
program.
Well, yeah,
But yeah, municipal
I mean-
pickup, and then we'd eliminate. I still need transfer stations, but I would not need a $3.4 million budget.
I mean, my daughter's in the city; she has to compost now.
Yeah. So municipal is kind of the way to go, but we've always done this. And with this program in place, I'm trying to reduce our deficit, reduce our dependence on the tax line, while encouraging recycling and making the program pay for itself.
And also getting a handle on who's using the transfer station for what.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, when you say make the program pay for itself, we're charging our residents.
Yes.
And that, some would call it tax. It's, right.
Yes, you buy things and
I get
then
it.
you dispose of things. So, yeah, there are employees associated with this. So,
Oh, yeah.
it's we're
100%.
not trying to make money. We're trying not to lose money.
Exactly.
If I could be at zero, that'd be great. But the end zone changes every year depending upon the commodity prices, depending upon how much waste we get. If we don't get a lot of waste, we still have 4 transfer stations and 27 employees to fund. We're not able to cut back on sanitation helpers and laborers.
You might need them next week.
Yeah. We peak in the summer. We're lulls in the winter, just like the population around here. So.
And solid waste is one of the fundamental duties of town government. So, thank you for doing this.
Okay. So all of these are proposed. If the board wants to change these numbers to less or keep them the same, that's your. I don't need to tell you your purview, but that's your purview, right? We'll make it work no matter what. We'll just might be a little more reliant on the taxes making up the difference at the end of the year. But
This is pretty much goes along with the same prices of East Hampton.
Really just for landscaping. Everything else is a bit different because we do dispose of our own waste. We have 4 stations as opposed to 1.5 stations, I would say. We have a lot more staff than they do. We're just way spread out. So it's some things are the same, some things are really different. So that was the leaves and brush.
Green bags is very different.
Very different. Yep. Their permit fees are $130 a permit.
But no green bags.
No green bags. Yep. So $120 for the first permit, $45 for the second, and then if you don't have a permit, it's $20 a trip. So, so after landscaping, one thing I wanted to do, line 42, propane tanks. Currently, we charge $5 a tank. We take the tank in, we put it in a roll-off container, and the recycler comes and picks them up for free. So I'm looking to reduce that to 0 because we don't really incur any cost on that. Trying to, give a little back, but I'd like to reduce that. I think it makes sense for us. Let's help encourage recycling of propane tanks. 51 is tire with rim. Currently, we only take tires, no rims. As a resident, if you got a tire with a rim on it, like you're not getting it off by yourself. So
And those are things that get chucked on the side of the road because you can't take it to the transfer station.
There you go. So let's create a line item. You know, if we get a couple of them, we'll take the tire off in the shop. You know, $30 will more than cover our time. Plus, we get to recycle the rim. I think we're definitely net positive on that. Page 2, back to page 2. We accept bulk. Bulk is anything that's garbage that's not in a green bag. So MSW, not in a green bag. Larger items that you can't fit, like a chair or stuff like that that you can't recycle. It's not metal, but you can't fit in a garbage bag. We take these at North Sea and Hampton Bays. North Sea has a scale, so we can weigh all these items and charge a fee based on the weight. Hampton Bays, we don't have a scale, so it's more of an estimate. They're looking at it, they're figuring out kind of what size they are, and they're assigning a fee. I want to make that visual assignment of fee a Hampton Bays only item. Because right now, you could visually look at something at both North Sea and Hampton Bays and assign a fee, whereas North Sea, I just want to rely on the scale. They got to go across the scale. Let's stick it to the scale. So the fees stay the same. I'm just changing it to Hampton Bays only for small and large bulk for those per item charges. Large and small residential mixed bulk. In our analysis, I found that we have a discrepancy between the cost of a green bag and the cost to dispose of bulk. The town pays the same amount to dispose of them. So they're the same item in our eyes. So we analyzed the revenue from the green bags in 2023, and we made $442,000 in revenue. Through our research, we found that people buy large bags to small bags 2 to 1. So as twice as many large bags than small bags, because the large bags are a little more economical. The average price for those bags is $15 for 5, so it's like $3 per average bag.
Are these line items on?
No, I'm kind of
Okay.
giving you a backstory as to how the discrepancy is now, like, we're realizing this. So if you're putting your waste in a green bag, it's like $240 a ton for that green bag. Or you could dispose of your waste in bulk and pay $200 a ton. So it's incentivized by $40 to pay for bulk. I don't know that people have done the math on this. Like, nobody's directly going to bulk, but like, these should be equal, or bulk should be higher because we have an additional handling fee using the payloader, loading it into trailers. The green bags are thrown into the compacting trailers, and we just compact them, we drive them away, and we dump them out. Like, we're not touching them a second or third time. So I'm proposing to raise the bulk price to be larger than the green bag price because of the additional handling that we have to do. Secondly, the bulk is not as dense, so we're able to fit less in the trailer, so the truck trips cost more because the larger materials just don't break down like a really heavy garbage bag. You know, it's usually small items in there. So proposing to raise bulk by $100 per ton, but really it's going to be 15 cents a pound. And there's a minimum charge for the bulk because it's the larger items. So you get up to 100 pounds worth of stuff in that $15. Anything beyond that, it'll be prorated based on the weight. And then this way it would be equal to and higher than the green bags. They should never, bulk should never be less than the green bags because of the extra handling. Scrap metal.
And you're going to
Yeah.
have it available at West Hampton at some point? Too?
Yeah, once we hire another scale operator, we just let a scale operator go. We already bought the roll-off containers. We're looking to open up bulk, metal, and white goods like refrigerators, dryers, washing machines available at West Hampton so that we can intercept those goods further up the island. The further west we accept the material, the less we have to travel to get rid of it. So it's going to save us money. And this way, someone from West Hampton doesn't have to travel to Hampton Bays to get rid of their dryer. They can just do it right at West Hampton.
That's why Sag Harbor doesn't have the bulk.
It's
also not set up for that.
It's not set up for it, but the last thing I want to do is collect more waste to Sag Harbor because then that's just more truck trips up the island. So for scrap metal, currently it's I think it's 3 cents a pound right now. I'm proposing to raise it to 7 cents a pound, which would be in line with what East Hampton charges for scrap metal.
Don't we make money on that?
We do, but there's also we make about 50% on it. Like, where's my numbers? I had a big old sheet.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, no, we make money on scrap. We make about $100 a ton. But here we go. So it's costing us about $55 a ton just to haul it up the island. Our heavy equipment operators that drive our trucks with benefits, they make $57 an hour, all in. That's part of that 1.4 million. The averaging, I think, about $1.75 per mile to operate that truck, to pay for the truck, for the fuel, for the maintenance. So that metal trip alone, they're only getting about 4 or 5 tons. So that metal trip alone is costing us $200 just to get that material up the island. Now, we'll make $400 on it, but we're not really, it's not all profit out of here. Next is construction and demolition debris. So this was a huge one for us to look into this year because we were kind of shopping around a little bit, looking at the competition around us. We only accept construction and demolition debris at North Sea. If you go down the road to, it used to be Norsec, now it's Winter Brothers, their yard on Sandy Hollow. They were charging $75 a cubic yard. We charge by the ton. So we did a bit of math to get those two to speak the same language. So we took all of our roll-off containers, we calculated the density, and then we basically figured out how much we were charging per cubic yard. And we were charging $37 a cubic yard, half of what North Sea, just down the road, Norsec, now Winter Brothers, is charging for their construction demolition debris. So we were 50% cheaper than the people just down the road, which I believe was definitely incentivizing the contractors to try to come to us instead of going to another commercial business to dispose of their waste.
Even I figured that out.
Yeah, so
I dropped the garbage off.
So we're looking to make it equal to the competition in town. And really, my hope was that if the permits got put into place, this is a 1-year thing. We raise the price, put the permits in place, we keep the contractors out, and then we drop the price back down. Once we can make sure that it's just residential people using the transfer station.
C&D is going to get harder and harder to get rid of, so why don't we phase out even accepting C&D?
Because homeowners do minor construction projects at their house. They replace doors, they replace cabinets. We do want to provide a way for them to get rid of it.
But I mean, if it's the same charge as a private place, then why not just let the private place handle it?
We could, but that goes to our duty. It's just a decision. We could, but do we want to? Is the question.
If you're not offering it any cheaper to residents than they would pay right up the road, let them go up the road, and why?
Yeah, on some level, it's one-stop shopping. So you get rid of your garbage and your construction debris.
And sometimes when you go to like Winter Brothers, if you don't go there all the time, you could be intimidated, driving in with all those trucks.
Yeah,
when they with a pickup truck or a car.
I'm not defending it.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying that if we don't want to take it anymore, then we could totally choose to, and it would save me money and having not to.
If we don't offer it, we're going to find it around town.
Scotch Road.
Now we kind of hit it in the middle. We could go halfway. We could go 300. We could go 250. Like right now, I think we're being taken advantage of. If the permits come into place, I don't think we'll be taken advantage of as much. So there's that. But if there's no permits, then we need to raise the fee.
Or just say you don't take over, like, you know what I mean? Like, why are we accepting a ton? A ton of debris is usually not a private person.
I mean, we allow it, but it's 20 cents a pound.
Or we cap it at a certain amount of weight, because if it's a residential person, I mean, you're not coming and bringing a whole job's worth of crap to us.
Yeah.
If you want to cap it at residential usage, then cap the weight.
We could cap it at like 500 pounds. Like that would probably be appropriate, but once everybody gets used to that, they'll be making 3 trips.
It's kind of hard. Like if I'm doing something at my house, I might load my pickup truck up with all of my scrap wood.
Again, we're discussing this in a bubble. There's no community. There's no, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no other input to this conversation right here. And that's not anybody's fault, but I'm just, we're discussing this in a bubble, and
we've raised fees in the past, and we've never done a work session on it too. So
It is
this
being broadcast.
Yeah, this is like the first work session on the fees in the budget that I've been aware of. So that's why I've got all my data, and I'm trying to at least
Like, this is something I feel like we should take to the CACs and put it out there and get some feedback on.
Tom, if we did a public service or a public education initiative, actually, let me ask you this. What part of our waste stream costs the most, number one? How could we get people to change their behavior, number two, and to save the town and them as much money as possible? Now, you may not have that answer right now. Oh, you do? Cool.
You're not going to like them. Commingled cost us the most. We lost $125,000 in 2023 on commingled. Now, that 125 was offset by the greenbacks, but it's a negative in our ledger book. So the greenbacks have to make up for that, like double time to try and help our bottom
and that's
line.
done by weight.
Yes, it's all done by tonnage, by weight. Tonnage is the industry standard metric for anywhere that we dispose of waste.
So if we ask people to make sure that all of their bottles and stuff were empty, I mean, that's a small thing, but I think they would do it. And I'm not making this a big deal. Just like a for instance, that would help.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not factoring in that. That would help, yes. But we're not...
I get it. We're not exactly talking about that, but I think, like things like that, small captures could matter and enfranchise the people, to Councilwoman McNamara's point, like do some kind of public outreach and then kind of get some goals to achieve in our waste stream. Sure. I believe people will cooperate. They want to do this.
If we can separate our glass and crush it, like I can buy a crusher for $175,000, $200,000. I'll pay that off in 4 years based on the fees that I'm not paying to dispose of the glass.
So if we had a different bin for glass and plastic, and then we grind the glass and we use it for,
we'll save. I think it's third. Where's my glass page? We'll save $37,000 a year in disposal costs, and we'll save $40,000 a year in trucking.
Yeah,
So
see, that's awesome. And if people knew that, they would want to do it, and they'll put their bottles in.
I'm sure we could get a grant for that kind of equipment.
And when somebody says Tom didn't answer their email, this is what Tom is doing.
Actually, you're going to end up saving more because you're not having wear and tear on the trucks, and then you save money in the shop because the trucks aren't breaking down. So that the number he gave you is actually more than that.
I mean, my ROI is 2.26 years. Like what? So that come next year when I come to you guys to talk about what we want to buy, I'll have these numbers, and I'm trying to make good cases for investment in machinery and equipment that can pay for itself. Now, in 10 years, nobody's going to care that I saved $37,000 on glass disposal costs because it won't be a thing anymore. But
if you do it for 10 years,
that'll be $37,000 less in our budget that we have to make up. Yeah. So, what's the other big point that I need to make before we're just about done?
Follow the
sale,
sale of materials.
Yeah, so forever everybody's been like, why don't you sell your mulch and compost and all of that? And we really finally should. I've kind of been really hesitant to because I need to I'm worried about not getting rid of as much as we previously have. So we're looking to come in at like basement prices on these things. We're call it fledgling mulch operation as far as selling it. I want the price to reflect that. I mean, we're not Long Island Compost putting out brown dyed mulch for your flower bed. We have nice mulch. We have nice compost. So I want to be able to, at least if the landscapers are going to take that and bring it back to their yard and further refine it, I at least want to get some money out of that.
Further refine it, do we need a secondary grinder?
We could use a screening plant at some point. That's $400,000. We could use maybe a windrow turner. I don't know if that's the direction we're going to go. The payloaders are just fine, but that's another $500,000. So I don't think we're at the point where we can spend money on that stuff when we have enough other things to buy.
Okay.
10 years from now, maybe. So, hey, $10 a yard. You know, if it doesn't work out, nobody's taking mulch from us. I'll come back to the board and say, hey, we got to cut these prices because I got material out my ears right now. So, and it'll be free for residents. So if you want to come with your truck, we'll load you up with some mulch. You get out of here, It's great. If you're a contractor, we're gonna hit you for $10 a yard.
Which is fair.
So, and then just the last thing is like, wanted to change the language on the tipping fees for brush. Each year we suspend brush fees for 6 weeks in the spring and in the fall. Where's my brush sheet? Here's my brush sheet. So last fall, we took in 3,700 yards of residential brush for free, which is a value of about $75,000. Our free brush coincides with the highest volume of brush that comes into the transfer station. It's kind of like
Well, because you can stockpile that until the free period comes.
Yeah, no, we can. So it's just a question of like whether or not we wanted to half price brush. The change in the language allows us by town board resolution to make it free, make it not free, all that. I just wanted to provide a little wiggle in there. Right now it's free. Free brush starts November 15th, lasts till December 31st. So come bring it down. But and then no change to the departmental chargebacks.
Do you think December 31st is a long time?
It's
Why not
an
just
even
1
time.
month?
I mean, we could do it for a month, but it's always been 6 weeks
Okay.
in the spring and in the fall. So we can shorten the window, but if there's snow on the ground, nobody's collecting brush, so it's not really a big change. So
And now you want to accept wood chips where you didn't
yeah,
before?
we'll take if you go wood chips, we'll take the wood chips. Grass is still really tricky for us right now. Just the potential smell when it's decomposing and
They have to cover it up.
yeah,
It's like they do.
So, but we'll take wood chips. So, it's a lot.
It's a good
Thank you
start.
for all your work on it.
Yeah, there's a lot more to do, but it's a business that we're trying to break even on. So it's a balancing act.
It's not really business.
I don't know how much time we have left. It is a business.
Well, you're not profiting. You're
Yeah, but we're our profit is not losing money.
Right.
So I mean, we could keep how we are, and we could lose $900,000 a year, and or we could try and make the waste pay for the operation. Because it is
come close.
It's a we're not the private industry. Like healthcare, and we have all these other things. I have 27 employees. It cost me $1.4 million. Like it's a lot.
Yeah.
And the buildings and the fuel and everything else cost me another $2,000 a day. So it's $6,000 a day for this operation. That I can't. I don't want to say it can't, but it's difficult to shave off of that.
Understood.
So the other side is like, all right, getting bigger trucks, so I make less trips, and making the waste denser so that I also make less trips, and then trying to find the heavy waste that I can reuse, which is the glass, and then we're gonna have a big year next year. Got a lot of funding coming in. We finally have trucks. Like we got a lot of momentum, but some of these prices definitely need to go up. I don't know how we decide on what's going up and what's not going up and what's in the fee schedule and what's not in the fee schedule. You know?
Yeah. I think we
Like,
have to talk about it.
Like,
a
are there
little more.
permits? Are there not permits? Like, this is my
Yeah.
proposal.
Right.
I'd love to see all of these, but it's up to
the board.
Yeah.
We have to discuss it in executive session.
We'll have to talk about it and then get back, so it's not gonna be ready to go on,
Yes.
this week.
Um,
What's on the back here is the.
Oh yeah. So do we have 5 minutes
Yeah,
or
yeah,
so?
yeah.
Okay. I know I'm at the last on the agenda. So on the back is a breakdown of 2022, 2023, and what we could make 2023 look like if the fees were changed as per what we're
Oh, I
proposing.
see.
So
Okay.
line item 2, we have municipal solid waste, which is green bags. Line item 3 is municipal solid waste bulk. Then we have paper, commingled, cardboard. OCC is old corrugated cardboard. It's the industry term for it. Metal, construction and demolition debris, residential. Chargebacks, which are like highway department bringing leaves, parks bringing garbage that they pick up at the beaches, and then the yard waste. So We have our hauling costs. All these costs are per ton. So what we did was we calculated. I have a whole chart of every transfer station, and then on the other axis is every disposal site. And we have the round trip mileage between transfer station and disposal site, and the estimated time that our trucks take to do it. So we know that going to Great Northern Fiber is 3.5 hours from North Sea, and it's 95 miles. And then we use the mileage fee, similar to like the IRS reimbursement fee, which is like 70 cents a mile for cars. We're estimating 175 for our trucks, and then our labor rate of $57 an hour, and then we're extrapolating out from there, and it costs us. So for cardboard in 2022, we did 26,000 miles at 786 hours of driving time. So using those numbers, we spent $90,000 just bringing the cardboard back and forth. So then we took our tonnage of 1,033 tons of cardboard, divided it by, or took 91,000, divided it by our tonnage, and that's our cost per ton to haul it. So that's what the 2678. So MSW is real cheap to haul because we could put a lot in a trailer. Paper's still pretty good to haul. Anything around 30 is really great for us. Commingled, $60 a ton to haul it because it's so light. Because a lot of the plastic doesn't have any weight to it, so we can't really put a lot of tonnage in the trailer because it's taken up by the base of the plastic. The cardboard is even worse, $88 a ton to haul, because I can only put in that same trailer so we use the same trailers for everything. So I can put 14 tons of garbage in one trailer, but I can only put 4 tons of cardboard in that same trailer. So that's why my efficiency really is terrible on that. And then metal and C&D, those are due to the size of the containers. In the second column are my disposal fees, so what the yard charges us to bring the material to them. So we have to pay for MSW. We make $80 a ton on paper currently, depends on the market conditions. It fluctuates every month. Commingled costs us $60 a ton right now to bring it to isolate. Metal, at cardboard, we're getting a revenue of $80 a ton. Metal, we're getting about $100 a ton on revenue. And then the construction demolition debris is $95 a ton to dispose. So then we look at what fees we charge in the third column. The fourth column is how many tons a year we do. And then our profit encompasses all of those items. So in 2022, we made $1.4 million. Our operation cost us $2.2 million, so we had a deficit of $770,000, excluding the taxes that offset that, right? If we look at the second group of numbers, it's 2023. We made about $1.3 million, but our operation cost us $2.7. So we were in a deficit of $1.4 million that we used about $476,000 of taxes to offset, but still a deficit. So if we took that same 2023 number and then we changed the fees based on what's in this fee schedule, we'd be able to knock that deficit from 1.4 million to 300,000. And that's with taking the glass out, that's with compacting the cardboard, that's with raising the fees on bulk, raising the fees on C&D. Like, we're on a good track to help reduce our reliance on taxes and get us towards zero. So
big step.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, short of like shutting down a transfer station and like consolidating, we have to do it through our hauling and through our fees. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking this so seriously and
Yes.
providing such detailed information, Tom.
So,
very impressive.
Really
I'd like to look at reduction.
Oh yeah.
Too. I know,
reduction.
right,
So
like-
reduce, reuse,
Right,
reduction
exactly.
is the first word
And,
in a sense.
You know,
So,
I do believe people would buy into it if we gave them real strategy.
yeah, because I actually track all my garbage at my house. So I'm in Riverhead, but we have residential pickup, so twice a week, and then we have cardboard pickup, and then we have, or paper cardboard, and then we have commingled. So my partners thinks I'm crazy, but I weigh all of my garbage, and I log up for the past 6 months I've been doing it. And my partner and I, we produce half a pound of waste per day. The average is like 3.6 pounds per person per day. So, but yeah, all right.
Yeah.
We should all be more conscientious.
It's just, yes. And then my neighbors across the street had like 6 garbage bags outside. I just, you know, like.
I put my tipping cart out with the lid open because I can't fit everything in
Yeah.
there. With
Well,
it.
packaging also is part of this.
Yeah, of course.
And
Well,
you
they
know,
won't let us recycle
you
anything,
get a lot
so it's
more
all-
cardboard, and I mean now the cardboard is mixed in with the
Yeah.
the styrofoam and the plastic, and it's a
Yeah,
pain in the
you gotta-
neck
That's usually
to
what it is.
separate it, and
Gotta separate it.
yeah,
So.
and you have to separate or else we're contaminating our product.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, it's
Thank
a
you.
lot, but it's probably the most important thing we do.
Mm-hmm.
Besides providing like drinking water, you know,
Right.
and electricity. So
So we'll get back to you with
yeah,
some
of course.
feedback.
Available to meet to discuss any.
See that.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks, Tom. Well, Kim, she did a wonderful job here.
Now you're all mixed up.
That's all right.
All right, great. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, thank you.
So
Thanks,
that
Tom.
brings us to the updates. Cindy, did you have anything you
No,
wanted
I'm
to?
good, thank you.
Michael?
Just that we had our resource fair on the past weekend. It was really successful. About 70 people came, and throughout the day, there were 2 wonderful presentations from Silo and Parent to Parent. It was very successful, and really, honestly, all thanks to Jamie Bowden for organizing all of that and putting all the pieces into place. We also heard from Tia Fulford, who is the executive director of the Butterfly Effect. She came to meet with the Anti-Bias Task Force to discuss her new book. She has a new book out, and her book, courses over a number of different challenges that various communities face, when up against bias. So it was very relevant to what the Anti-Bias Task Force does, and it was a very nice presentation. We're looking forward to working with her and the Youth Bureau as well. They're going to be working with her and the Anti-Bias Task Force for a future project. So that's all I have for you today.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just want to say we were contacted by the county with their Operation Greenlight project for veterans. And if you're wondering why the cupola is green between November 4th and 11th, that's why. And we got the East End villages and towns to all participate as well. So they're going to light their buildings and landmarks with the color green for this week in honor of Veterans Day. And I just finally was told by my office, not finally, but just told that Jackie was able to coordinate the meeting for the West Hampton Community Center with the Village of West Hampton Beach is letting us use their village hall. And that's going to be December 2nd at 6 p.m. We'll get the word out too, of course. But we'll have that public informational meeting and get some feedback from the community.
It's very good.
Yeah, she coordinated with the architect and the village and Tom and Nick, and hope we can all be there and answer questions. Okay, Phil.
The other day, I toured Ella Squire's house in Hampton Bays with Amy and Jackie and a few other people to get a plan to either preserve it or stabilize it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good.
Yes, my wife came too.
We allocated money for that.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yes.
so that should be moving forward.
Yes.
Okay, good.
We just have to have a plan.
Yeah,
before
we allocated money for that a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had that one group that was gonna take control of it, but then they never followed through.
Yeah.
I think it was cash flow.
Actually, my grandfather's name was
Tom, John?
he married a Squires.
Oh, wow. Are you finished up with that? That's good information.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Tommy John?
Earlier this week, I won a seat in the New York State Assembly. I will be.
We heard.
Thank you. I will be resigning this position at the end of December.
Okay.
Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you. Yeah.
Wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, you'll certainly be missed. And now we have to figure out how to fill your seat. So
Right. I'll let you know. So
There will
be
be
an
a
election.
special
I did
election in
hear.
March.
If you need help, we still have your phone number.
Yeah, it's going to be either some date between March 2nd and March 31st, and Sunday's looking into that. So we'll get
Watch
some
out
more
for the
information
deer
from her.
on the Conic at night.
I'm a throughway guy.
Yeah. They want to change it up. They get tired of the
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Tom and Jackie.
All right, well, then, I move to go into executive session to discuss contracts, personnel, and legal advice, and, then to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, everyone.
Are we taking a break? Are we going right in?
I have
Think-
to get something to eat.